Rent's due. Yes, sir, baby. Rent is due. Woo! It's a football Friday. My God. Hey, man, you have to know, right? You have to know right now, this is rent is due, right? Ain't no more prognosticating. Rent's due, baby, on Sunday. Rams come rolling into town. Divisional round. It's going to be a great weekend in football. I'm jacked up. Monday night, you got the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame. We're going to get some storylines going this week. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. First 15 minutes. Most important part of the program. All super chats go to the top. Please put them in order because, again, we're going to get to an open here. Hey, man, you got to love Jared Verse. Holy shit, this kid comes out of the gate swinging. I hate you. I hate Philly fan. Man, you should wear that as a merit badge. Dude, I'll tell you this. The greatest reputation in the history of NFL football when it comes to fans is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I don't look at it the way these other assholes look at it. Oh, my God, these guys are so nasty and mean. Good. I want a fan base like that. I want a fan base that's passionate about my team. It's got great civic pride. You got them lightweights and you got them snowflakes in the media, the liberal media, that fucking hate you. You know why? Because of your attitude. You know what it is? You got an ego. You love your team. You hate when people hate on you. People can't hate. They can't take people like you. That's why they can't take me. 15-3. Thank you, Khalid. That's right there, man. Chips and birds. Fuck them. Fuck them. Dude, I'm sorry. I played at this University of Miami thing, and I love when people hated me. I thrived on it. I ate that shit up. I still eat that shit up. Nothing really has changed in my life. I eat that up. When I saw Jared Verse say that, and by the way, how about that asshole Chris Carter that played for you, that fucking hates you, and says that Eagle fans are the worst people on the planet? Hey, man, Chris has got an ass because he was a drug monster when he was an Eagle, and they had to fire him to save his life, and Buddy Ryan pretty much saved his life by cutting him because he was a drug monster. He's got an ass with being cut. That's too fucking bad, guy. He calls you a former Eagle, Hall of Fame player, worst fans in the world. I think you're the best fans in the world. I like the Buffalo Bill fans. I like those guys too. Bills Mafia. I do. I like Steeler fans. I like anybody that shows passion. Hey, but the media can't take you. Do you know why that's why they do that shit? Cajun Cobb, baby. How you doing, Sills? I'm doing great. Football Friday. How can you not? How do you feel about Jared Verse? And you know what? Who cares with Jared Verse? Sills, it's Philly. Unapologetic asshole. Thank you. Yes. I have now become your adopted son. I'll take it. I have now officially proclaimed being Philadelphia's adopted son. Fuck you. You don't like it? Don't show up. You're too much of a... Sorry, Aunt Betty, I won't use it. It's a football Friday. I promise you I wouldn't use... Okay, the F-bombs, I can't stop using them, but I won't use that profanity. How about wussy? I'm doing that only for my aunt. Okay? I don't give a shit what you think. Hey, look, man, I may dog certain aspects of your organization and your team, but I don't dog the fans. Fans are what makes sports talk in Philadelphia the best in the country. You're better than New York. You're better than New York. Clearly better than Chicago. You're better than Los. Dude, LA and New York sports talk blows. You know why? They kind of care. That's why Sunday's big. Hey, how about this too? You got an asshole fan base. Cold, snowing. Come on in. You got an indoor team coming into Philadelphia. You want to fight? See, that to me is what the Eagle fans and Philadelphia sports fans are. Hey, man, you want to fight? Let's go. I don't give a shit where you want to fight. Parking lot, garage, park, anywhere. I'll fight your ass. You want to take it even to Jersey, you want to go to Wildwood, I'll fight you on the beach in front of people. Come and get it. Come and get it. I can't wait to Sunday, man. Lay it on him. Anthony Paisan. Let's see if Verse still talks after going up against Lane Jordan for 60 minutes. Hey, like I said too, Anthony, everybody's got a big mouth until they get punched in that mouth. Say you anything about the fans only makes us get up more. Absolutely. Anytime you talk shit on them, they're going to fucking go nuts this Sunday. This is just like a kind of a precursor to this. Okay? Can't make that comment right now, Joker. Got to win a Super Bowl first. You can't compare yourself to Super Bowl teams until you become a Super Bowl team. Don't act like a championship team until you've consummated it. You're not married yet. You're not married to that Lombardi trophy yet. Should Tanner McKee get QB1 snap Sunday? Dude, adios. Are you kidding me? Adios. Please. Where would you come up with that? Let's go, man. Let's go. So Verse thought that he would give the Eagle guys and the fan base bulletin board material. Yeah, that'll go well. Yeah. Hey, that will last as long as milk on the table for 3 days. By the time that thing gets to Sunday, it'll be spoiled by then. Yeah, that's a good thing to do to Eagle fans. You're lucky you're not at the vet. See, you know what they've done to Eagle fans? It's kind of crazy. They kind of moved you out of the hood, and they put you in these nice kind of like, digs now where you have Lincoln Financial. You got nice running water. You don't have cats running around. You don't have rats at the vet. You don't have the courthouse any longer in the jail. Darren up in the 700. You don't have any of that shit. So you're kind of like now in new digs. They kind of moved you on up. You know what I mean? They got you out of the vet. It's the same fucking fans. It's the same assholes. You're just in a different environment now. Okay? I think that's what people. Hey, look at it. Here's Eagle fan. Ready? Hey, look, man. Look at the new crib they gave us. Wow, this is really fancy. Running water. Holy shit, look at the concession stands. This is really nice here, man. Lincoln Financial. Look at this shit, man. Look at it. Wow, look at the here. I would say this too. If you're an Eagle fan, you're like, wow, look at the field. I don't see it elevated on second base anymore where the carpet used to go up on second and guys would blow their knees out. Holy shit, look at that. It looks like a real football field. This is really great. Wow, you're still the same assholes. Okay. Hey, look at this. Flexing goes, I hate the vet. You may hate the vet, but I don't think you realize how much other players hated the vet. Verse has no idea what he's walking into. Done. I love that. All right, man. Hey, man, we're going to give you our takeaways here. Got a bunch of shit to hit on here. Xander's going to join us at 3:30. We're going to have our usual cast of characters. Jason Cole will break down our NFL Hall of Fame voter from Yahoo Sports at 4:30. Billy Godfather will join us at 5:30. So All right, before we get going here, okay? Before we get going, let me see. Did I put that down? Yeah, I did. We're going to use that as a topic here. Give me some scores. By the way, hit the like button here on this Football Friday. Give me some scores. And I want to see if they're going to be in the room with me. What you see on Sunday. Great weekend. Saturday, we'll know a little bit about the Lions and Washington. And then, obviously, Sunday, you got a barn burner with that Buffalo and Ravens game, too. That's going to be a great one. I'm looking forward to Josh Allen versus Lamar. 24-20. I am not going with Emirates. Martin says 30-15, 35-17. Raz, 28-17. See what Harv says. Veteran Stadium was one of the best home field advantages. No one wanted to go there and play during the Buddy days. The event's truly intimidated. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, over on my X account, you've got to go see Jerome Brown. You have got to go see Jerome, and Buddy's watching. Hey, Xander, I think I missed the Blue Super. Guys, do me a favor, please. We will get to all of them here in a minute. 27-14. I'm nervous, Sills. We go against the Lions in the NFC title game. Let's worry about Sunday first. All right. Let me give you my takeaways on what I think I'm going to see on Sunday. Hit the like button. On paper, this is a complete mismatch. The only advantage in the game is the quarterback, which is important. And the only other advantage is the play calling head coach. He's a better play caller than Kellen. His resume speaks to that. Whatever you think, whatever you are hoping, that doesn't play out here. The only advantages is McVay and the quarterback. That's it. There is no other place. Now, those are the most important advantages that you can have. Okay? Sills, looking like a Miami Hurricane intern defensive line coach, looking to recruit 3-star prospects from the hood. Pay attention. 3-star? Big Sills don't. Hoss, unless you're a 5-star kid, don't call me. Okay? Don't call me. That's the only advantage, is coaching in the quarterback on Sunday. Okay? I appreciate it, handsome hustler. Thank you, brother. Hit the like button. Okay? Yeah. It's the play caller and the quarterback where you have the only advantage. Rams have a very young and talented football roster. And since the beginning of the season, they clearly have played a lot better. I mean, they have, since they got run off the field by the Eagles with that 300-yard performance, they have played a lot better. Okay? They have. Eagles have a dominant roster. I mean, they have a roster that's built for a game like Sunday. It's built for Sunday. Cold, snowing, run the ball, and play defense. Fuck, man. Chuck Bednarik would be proud of that. Run the ball, play defense, and let's go play 60. I don't give a shit about next week, 3 weeks from now. I don't care about anything. Go play 60 minutes of football. And may the best man come out standing. Go play 60. Don't give a shit about my family. I don't give a shit about my life. I don't care about anything. But 60 minutes of football comes Sunday. My mentality would be, I don't care who's talking to me. I don't care what's going on around me. I don't fucking care who's in front of me. I don't care. I'm going to do everything I can to be a human wrecking ball on Sunday. I'm going to get myself so fucking lathered up by Sunday, you're going to almost have to commit me to prison with shackles and handcuffs on what I'm going to do to you. There's nothing I wouldn't do to win on Sunday. Nothing. I don't want to hear anybody talking to me. I don't want anything pleasant around me. I want everything miserable. Everything miserable. Because I'm going to kill you. If I could go into the game with a gun and a knife, I would. If you would give me a chair, I would. All metaphors. That's the mentality. I don't care. If I die in the field, I don't care. That's the approach you go into that game with the Rams. If you're the Eagles, nothing matters in life but standing on the top podium and winning. How many holding calls will not be called on the Rams O-line blocking Carter? 6. Make them wish they never stepped up. Right. There you go. Abe, that's right. That's the mentality. Man, when you're going to get here, if I was a Rams player and I was playing against that offensive line, I would have to pull my greatest Muhammad Ali out. By the way, rest his soul, today would have been his 83rd birthday. My favorite athlete of all time, Muhammad Ali. Was privileged to meet him with Angelo Dundee in Miami when Jimmy used to bring him to our practices. The champ is here. That's what he used to do. The champ is here. All of us would stop practice and go see Ali. It was one of the greatest things of all time. Jimmy used to bring all the great boxers. Hector Camacho, Marvin Hagler. I've posted pictures of all this. Mugabe, the Beast would come. We had Thomas Hearns. We had Sugar Ray Leonard. Jimmy's a big fight fan. And he would have all the boxers show up. And then there he was. Angelo Dundee had a gym in South Florida. And we would go see him. And all of a sudden, there he was at our practice field on Green Tree. There's Ali coming in talking to us. You have to understand something about my generation. We all wanted to be Ali. That's why we talked so much shit. We followed in his footsteps as a shit-talking football team. He was all of our idols, and he would come to practice a lot. Ali loved us. And anytime he was in town in Miami, he would come up and see us if we were on the field. It was just great to have met him and shook his hand. I mean, then when I started doing sports talk radio in Tampa, Angelo moved up to the Bay Area, I think Sarasota, and he would come in my studio. I have a signed autographed book that Ali, and he gave it to me. I always loved Hagler Hearns. It was a great fight in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. Says, I watch you every day on the road. I'm a truck driver. Dude, you're the heart and soul of our country. Going up and down the East Coast, flipping people off, go Birds. How you doing? Eric, you're the heartbeat of America. You're the dude I like talking to. Thank you, Eric. You're the guy that matters to me. Okay? You are people that make America great. Truck drivers going up and down, earning a living. Eric, I tried truck driving once, man. Didn't work out for me, bro. I'm caught on the Jersey Turnpike in third. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, it wasn't working for Big Sills, man. Yeah. Hey, man. Bum, 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 bum. Now, wait, I couldn't get it. Hey, moving them gears around like that, I couldn't get it going, dog. I'm sorry, Eric. Okay? I'm sorry, dude. I couldn't get that thing out of gear, dog. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. Please, everyone. That's exactly the kind of people that have watched my show for over 30 years. is people like Eric. Hit the like button here on a Football Friday. So let me finish up here. I don't know, man. Could see snow on Sunday. Okay? Could see snow on Sunday. I got 28-10 Eagles. You're going to have to prove to me. You're going to have to prove to me that you could take a beating and then get back up again. And you're going to have to act like Muhammad Ali and go back and beat your opponent and prove to me that you can beat him. I don't know if I think the Rams are really talented. I think the Rams have a lot going for them. I think the Rams have really rebounded well since the Super Bowl win, and they pushed all their chips. I think they really have a great organization. I just don't think you're tough enough. This is going to come down to being tough enough. The Eagles are tough. It's a tough team. You want to know the difference between the 2023 team and the 2024 team? The 2023 team was tough. The 2024 team is tough. Mean. Physical. And they go out there every week and played like that. They're tough. Man, it wear you out. It's just in a fifth. They're like George Foreman. Many of you know Foreman's one of my dear friends. He's been on this program 2-3 times. George Foreman was like this. You know what the Eagles remind me of? They remind me of George Foreman. George never wanted to win rounds. He was more concerned about winning a fight. Eagles aren't concerned about winning the first quarter, the second quarter. They're just going to win the fight. They want to win the game. That's what a heavyweight knockout artist does. I don't give a shit about the first quarter. I don't care about the second quarter. By the fourth quarter, you're going to have the carts carrying you off like the Packers did. That's how I see this game. The Rams are going to have to prove it to me. Xander was trying to give me a pep talk, a reach around. I said, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. You're going to have to prove to me that you could take a punch. Because in the first fight, you couldn't take a punch. You just couldn't. You couldn't take a punch. My grandfather, huge boxing fan, he always said Foreman and Ernie Shavers, hardest and most feared boxers ever, biggest punchers ever. Absolutely, man. Great knockout guys. No question about it. We take teams too deep water and you drowned them. Correct. Listen, there is a part of me that believes the Rams have a shot. And I'll say it one more time to you. The only way the Rams win this game is if the Eagles underachieve and the Rams overachieve. See here, I think the Eagles can play a B game and win by 10. The Rams have to play an A game to have it in the fourth quarter to win. If it gets to 10 minutes left in the game and the Rams are still in it, Stafford can win it. That is everything right now the Rams have to do. They've got to get to the last 10 minutes, and they've got to be playing with the lead for them to win the game. Do I think they can do that? Again, if the Eagles come out farting around like they do in the first quarter all the time, and there's a ton of 3-and-outs, yeah. But again, that's wishful thinking. If they hadn't played one another, I probably would have a different opinion. Now, some would go, Sills, remember what happened last year? And let's do this here. Let's put this out here. Remember how you guys dominated the Buccaneers last year in the early game of the season? You dominated them, right? The Bucs kicked the shit out of you in the playoff game, right? They kicked the shit out of you. That game was never close. Could that happen again? I think they're two different teams. This team does not resemble anything at 23. There's no comparisons. It's a completely different football team, mentally, preparation-wise. It's just different. Now, if you had a losing streak going into the playoffs like that, I would think the Rams beat you. I don't see it, though. I don't give a shit AJ played. Didn't play. One player shouldn't destroy your roster. Every time I fucking hear what Richard says and shit like this right here, AJ didn't play. Again, at the end of the day, one player is going to derail your football team. You're not a very good football team. Don't you agree, guys? You're not a very good football team if you get derailed. Says, how bad do you think Milano wants to get back after Verse and what he did to him when he pile-drived him over? Oh, I think he sees that on – I would. Okay? Oh, I would. I would totally want that. 28-10. 28-10. Prove to me that you can go into this football game and you can take care of business. Just prove to me. I'm going to do this later on with Xander in the next hour. But here, I'm going to say this to you. Some prop bets heading into the game. Hurts over 37.5 rushing yards. Over under. In a weather game, over. I think he goes for about 50. Barkley, over under. 111.5. Oh, I got over. In a weather game, Barkley, I got over. Passing yards, 204.5, 204.5, over under. I got under. Remember the number. Jalen Hurts throws the ball for over 200 yards in a game in wins that he's had in the playoffs. He's 0-3. Under 200 passing yards, he's 3-0. Cron Williams, over under 74.5. I think he's going to go over that. I think they're going to feed his ass a lot. Hey, did you hear what Jason Kelce said? He didn't really believe that the Eagles had a – can you imagine Jason Kelce saying this? I didn't really think that our O-line blocked that well against the Packers. And I was like, wow, that was a subpar effort. And I thought they tortured him. That shows you how dominant the Eagles are. They had a subpar blocking game, according to Jason Kelce. And I thought they beat the Packer front up. Stafford, over under 214 yards, 214.5. I think he goes over. Now, we'll see what the completion percentage is, but he's going to have to throw for 350 yards to win. Puka Nacua, 7. I think Puka Nacua is going to be the key here and also in this game. Over under 80 yards, 79 yards. I think he's over. He tortured Cooper DeJean, tortured him. He's a really good football player. Now, he is nursing an ankle. How much does that play a factor in this? Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined. Okay? So, I see a football game where, please hit the like button, guys. the Rams are going to have to play their asses off. Look, I could sit there. Guys, I could sit here and lie to you and make some bullshit up and say that I've got the Rams and I want the Rams. I can't do that. What would be the reasoning? Hey, this would be the biggest upset in the playoffs if the Rams beat the Eagles. And I'll tell you what, Nick Sirianni would be in serious question how he prepped the team if they lose this ball game. Okay? I mean, I had a guy the other day telling me, you're setting us up, Sills. Do you really believe that that if it's mono versus mono? I don't believe that. You can't erase 317 in my mind. I'm telling you guys, if I'm watching that game film and I'm watching that week, was it 12? And I'm watching my ass get fucking beat up in a ball game and I'm watching that on tape, I wonder how much of that tape Sean McVay had his coaching staff show, because that's watching somebody get beat up and you're the guy you're watching yourself get beat up for 3 days. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure I want that kind of confidence or lack thereof going into a ball game. Right? What are we doing here? I would be telling my Rams guys, we're a different team. We're different guys. We're more experienced. Here's the problem you get with this, though, right? The more you talk, the more you do self-convincing, the less I'm convinced you're telling me the truth. If a guy has to continually tell me that I'm tough, hey, you're tough. Hey, don't worry, you're tougher than that. Hey, I don't believe him after a while, because my eyes don't lie to me. See, the key in coaching, the more you talk, the less I believe. You get that, right? When you are over-convincing somebody, let me tell you the biggest mistake that fucking coaches make. You know what they'll do? They'll run the play 17 times over. You know what that tells players? That coach is not confident we can run that play. He's not confident we can execute that play. When a coach has to do something 55 times, he's not convinced you can do it. Dude, you're not going to run a play 100 times, get into a football game, and think you're going to get anything different of a result than what you got in week 12. I don't give a shit who you are. The punches still hurt. So I've seen a stat where the Rams had 8 in the box, 38% of the time, the first matchup. I don't know how to stop our O-line. Hey, how about this? So you had 8 in the box, 38% of the time, and you still got your fucking heads kicked in. Yeah, convincing. You're convincing me less. So almost nearly half the time, I had every guy I had on my defense at the line of scrimmage, and they still beat me up with 5 guys. What are we talking about here? Here's how the Rams have to do this to that football team. You need to keep that O-line away from the Rams D-line. Not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doesn't scare me. The O-line does. Barkley. AJ and Hurts don't frighten me. If I am the coaching staff, keep that O-line off my guys. Keep them on the sidelines. Limit them to 57 plays. Keep them under 60 plays. Have a shot. How do I do that? Your offensive coaches and Sean McVay versus Vic Fangio, here is the game. Here is the game in a nutshell. You have to possess the ball. And by the way, you don't have to score touchdowns. You just have to possess the ball to limit possessions. Get it in the fourth quarter. Field goals, let them kick them. I don't care if they have 3 field goals in the first half. Don't give up explosion plays and limit their touches. Have to keep that O-line. Listen to me. You have to keep that O-line off my smaller guys. This is 1920s football. Big dudes beat up little dudes. Keep the bully away from my younger players. It's your only shot. And you have the quarterback to do this. And you have the play caller to do this. Sean McVay, in my opinion, has to just absolutely have a great game plan against Vic. This is the game. They need, in my opinion, the Rams 4 series of 10 or more plays, and they can win it. Again, I'm talking about what they have to do, not what they will do. Okay? Do I believe that? No. Now, I think the Rams can move the ball on that defense. I don't think the Rams defense can hold up for 60 minutes versus that O-line. The game is won with Stafford versus Vic Fangio. That's the game. Because you do not match up roster-wise, but you match up better with their offense versus your defense than vice versa. The offense is too big. Goddard's a great blocker on the edge. If you go back and watch the 22, Goddard had a great game blocking. He was a force in that game against the Packers. Blocking on Gary, he did a nice job. He's an underrated blocker. I mean, look at this. What is it going across? With the tight end, 6'4", 6'8", Mulata, 6'6", Landon, 6'3", Jurgens, 6'8", Becton, and 6'7", Landon. And these guys all look like bodybuilders. Got to keep that. You've got to keep that unit away from the Rams defensive line. Screens. I don't know what Higbee's status is going into the game. Boy, would I attack that linebacking core. Every time I see Jeremiah Trotter, I am going right at him. I do not believe he is NFL ready yet to play 50 plays in a game. And I don't even think that kid Oren Burks is. Go right at him. By the way, I would run stretch plays on the defensive tackles. Okay? Run stretch plays. You know why? Carter runs around blocks. Force him into running around some blocks. See if you can get a lane. Run a stretch play. Tire them out. Run the stretch play. I think they've done one thing this year that has been completely different than a year ago. I think both Jordan Davis and I think both Jalen Carter have prepared for an NFL football season, and I believe they're in shape. I believe they're in shape. Abe's right. Rams have to get to the edge. Have to get to the edge. I'd go right at Cooper DeJean. Matthew Stafford had a great game on him. Will he have learned? Of course he's going to learn. But so are they. That kid Cooper Kupp can get open. You know, it's funny. When I watch under 22, Cooper Kupp is a guy that he's in a lesser role now. Now, I wonder if that's got to do with the injuries, that he's in a lesser role, but he's in a lesser role. than he's been in recent time. I think it's got a lot to do with the injuries. Stafford's been playing great football. But again, one thing about the NFL reminds me a lot of baseball in a way. You're only as good as the next day's starting pitcher. And Matthew Stafford could have played well for 5 weeks. You get into a game versus an ace like the Eagle defense, and it doesn't really matter how well you've played. Okay? So, I mean, they have to keep that defense, okay, on the sidelines. Have to keep them. Chiefs may lose to Stroud. I doubt it. Okay. So that's kind of an overall view of this game. Now, one thing is for sure, like I've said, I completely disagree with John McMullen that the head coach in this game, he is the most accomplished head coach in the NFC in the playoffs with the teams remaining. There's nobody. And that guy, ESP, is an absolute assback, saying that the coaching advantage is with Nick and his staff. Where would you get that from? This guy's won 4 division titles, 2 conference titles. He's won 8 playoff games, and he's won a Super Bowl. Where the fuck in your right mind would you think anywhere on Nick Sirianni's resume with his coaching staff, not even his coordinators, are in the conversation with what those guys have accomplished? Not remotely close. That is an organization, and him especially, and he's younger. He's 38. Nick's 43. He got the job when he was 30 years old. And he's done that. Don't make an asshole out of yourself. There's nowhere on the resume that Nick is in that guy's room. So he can coach. Okay? He can coach. Yeah, and get this. See, M. Reyes will say this, and guess what? Todd Bowles beats the fuck out of your team. You want to go there? Todd Bowles owns you. He's 3-1 versus you. He owns you. Owns. Todd Bowles owns Nick Sirianni. Ownership manual to Todd Bowles. Right? Owns you. Owns. Ownership manual. Todd Bowles. You can't beat the Bucks and Todd. How you doing? How you doing? Woo! Can't beat Bowles. By the way, Todd Bowles has a Super Bowl ring as a DC. Does Vic? How you doing? Vic don't have a Super Bowl ring yet. Vic don't have one. Todd does. How you doing? Woo! Hey, you better win. You better win. All right, here we go here. Biggest worries for the Eagles this Sunday. You tell me. Elliott? Moore's game plan? Playoff-less Bowles, how you doing, baby? Win a Super Bowl, guy. Wake me up when you win a Super Bowl, Tony. Moore's game plan? The Rams show up. Hurts shits the bed like always. Which one are you more concerned with? Elliott? Moore's game plan, the Rams showing up, or Hurts shitting the bed? What are you more concerned with? Hurts putting another stinker up like he did last week? Who are you more concerned with? Sills, we're not playing Bull, so what's the point? No, the point was somebody said that McVay hasn't beaten you. Who gives a shit? He's won 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl. That has no bearing on one's resume. What the fuck that regular season glory. Hey man, I'll tell you what Eagle fans love to do. You love to cheer regular season glory. How about some postseason glory? And bang. Let's get some postseason glory. And Reyes loves that regular season glory. Standing on the regular season podium. Hey, we really had a great year. No, you didn't. Win the Super Bowl, dude. And here with the participation medal of the year, M. Reyes. I'm going to start doing this to M. Reyes from now on. M. Reyes is the ultimate silver medalist. M. Silver Medalist Reyes. He's the participation trophy king. Hey, we had a really nice year, 15-3. You win a Super Bowl? No, but fuck it. Wait a minute, what's Super Bowl? This is about winning the Super Bowl, man. This ain't about taking half laps and calling it a win. Yeah, hey, by the way, you're right. Todd Bowles is in Cancun looking at that Super Bowl ring going, hey, sweetie, bring me a Mai Tai. And Nick goes around Passaic, New Jersey with his NFC Championship game. Hey, bring me a Miller Lite or a Bud Light. I don't know, Bud Light. That's more for M. Reyes, Bud Light. Nobody drinks Bud Lights on this program. You understand that, right? Nobody drinks Bud Light. If Joe Kraus ever brought Bud Light as a sponsor, I am not accepting it. No Bud Lights. No Bud Lights on this program. Nobody better be drinking Bud Light. That's a PSA for everyone. Football fans and people who watch the Big Sills National Football Show, don't fucking drink. Oh, wait, I got a good one. Nobody drinks Bud Lights but people from Canada. People from Canada drink Bud Light. What's the national drink in Canada? Bud Light. Oh. Oh, my God. All right, here's for me. The biggest concern I have. Oh, man. Canada. National drink. Bud Light. And you know what else? Ding dongs. Bud Lights and ding dongs. Am I worried about Jake Elliott in this game? Let me say this to you and ask you this. Do you think in the offseason the Eagles move off of Jake Elliott? You think they move off of Jake Elliott? I think there's going to be if this guy misses extra points and field goals in this game Sunday, I think they move. I think this is a huge game for him Sunday. Okay? This is a huge game for him. He can't go in there and shit the bed. You miss an extra point, say it costs you the game. They're going to move off this guy. You know why? Look at how much money he makes. He's one of the higher paid guys in the league. Number 2, Kellen Moore's game plan. Boy, I'll tell you something. It's already starting. Listen to the whispers. Kellen Moore's game plan has not been really good. That's not true. I think Kellen Moore's game plan has been exceptional. Well, wait a minute. The passing game sucks. Because the passer sucks. Because the passer sucks. He doesn't suck as a player. The passer sucks. Okay? You're 30th in passing. You couldn't even throw 20 TDs this year. Your passing game is not very good. Okay? All you have to do is watch film. It's not very good. And he's taken 38 sacks. No question. Kellen Moore is also 15-3. No, Sue. Kellen Moore's game plan is what I'm talking about, not the shitty passing quarterback. I'm talking about the coordinator winning games. What you want to do is you want to rip down Kellen for his game plan. Kellen Moore's 15-3 too. That's why he's interviewing for 3 different head coaching jobs. You're wrong. You're all wrong. You know he's got Chicago on the horizon too. He's going to have 4 job interviews. You're wrong, all of you, that say his game plan was not good this year. You know why? The interviews for potential job openings say you're wrong. It's not Kellen Moore's game plan. Other organizations are recognizing what he has done this year with a limited passer. Have they not? So you're going to interview a bum? You're wrong. You're wrong. You don't interview a guy you don't think is good. He's got 4 teams now interviewing him to be a head football coach. Because he's 15-3 with a limited passer. So whatever you say about Kellen Moore's game plan, you're wrong. You have an opinion. The facts are he's interviewing in 4 minutes to become the next head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Then in about 40 minutes, he's got an interview with the Jags. Then he's got an interview on Saturday, the day before the NFC Divisional game with the Saints. Next Tuesday, he's going to have an interview with the Chicago Bears. When you say Kellen Moore's game plan is not good, you're wrong. Hence, teams are now fighting for him. Get this. Whatever you say here is an opinion. Facts are he's being interviewed, which is an indictment on Hurts. And a kudos to the coordinator. The coordinator gets more of the kudos for the team being 15 wins than the quarterback this year. Why? They didn't need the passing game, like you guys said. Kellen Moore switched off the passer. And the way Howie built the team, these are all facts. Get this. So Nicholas says he doesn't agree. Okay. Well, Nicholas, the facts are Howie built the team differently. They didn't build a team for Saquon Barkley to be the star. Look at the money being spent. That's not how they built it. The coordinator went off the quarterback, limited his touches, and they went on a 10-game win streak. You disagree with what? The facts? Sills, if he sucked, we would not be getting Sills, if he sucked, he would not be getting 4 job offers, 4 job interviews. 4 job interviews. Okay, bye, Kellen. And don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And so here's Anthony, who I absolutely love, by the way, in the program. Please hit the like button. So Anthony's going to do this, and here's Anthony giving excuses again. Sirianni, coordinator 1. Steichen 2. Johnson 3. Moore 4. And we will have a 5th coordinator in 5 years for Hurts. And they all sucked except one. They all sucked except one. Okay. And I'm sure the next coordinator will suck. And I'm sure the coordinator after that will suck. And I'm sure the coordinator after that will suck. And I'm sure the coordinator after that will suck too, Tony. Hey, Anthony, when are you going to eventually just come to the conclusion that the only common denominator in the building is the quarterback's inability to throw the ball? When are you going to come to that realization? When you have 10 coordinators in 10 years? Kellen Moore is getting job opportunities because he did the right thing instead of doing the wrong thing of a year ago with doing what? Sticking with the plan. You see, a year ago in 23, they stuck with the plan. And that's why you had that losing streak. And all those hey, how about this one too? Doesn't it make sense that in a span of 31 games, Jalen Hurts had 28 turnovers? And when they took the ball out of his hands, he has no turnovers. How are you not seeing this? How are you not plugging that in? And then the coordinator's getting all these job opportunities. The passing game does have to improve, but not now. I mean, this is what you are. The remedy for winning football in Philadelphia goes through Saquon Barkley and that tremendous O-line, not the quarterback. Now, is the quarterback responsible for the O-line and the running game and the way that looks? Absolutely. Hurts's value on the field for Philly is immense in the run game, not in the passing game. Immense. There's no chance Saquon Barkley gets 2,000 yards rushing if Hurts is not in the huddle. If you got Tanner McKee in the huddle, Saquon's not getting 2,000 rushing yards. No, I want Shane back. That's all. He was good. I don't want Shane Steichen back at all. He'll get your quarterback killed. He gets every quarterback he's ever coached killed. That's an RPO guy. Look at his history. Anthony Richardson is so banged up in the first 2 years, and Hurts was destroyed at the end of the 2022 season. Every RPO guy that guy has, he doesn't protect his quarterback. Those are facts. So let me get this straight. Shane Steichen got a head coaching job because Jalen's inability to throw the ball. No, his ability to run the RPO. Hence the fact they drafted an RPO guy. That's why he got the job. Because of the RPO. Yes. And the style of play. That's why they drafted a guy that resembled an RPO quarterback. But they just realized, and I told you this when he was at Florida, this guy was a 51% completion percentage guy at Florida. You think all of a sudden that guy is going to be a better player in the AFC South than in the Southeastern Conference? That's correct. Walt says that it wins games. Correct. Unfortunately, Howie got lucky. That Howie Roseman, this is as much luck as the 17 team. He did not construct that offense to look like this. Look at the assets. a first round trade with AJ, a first round wide receiver, a second round quarterback. I mean, the assets alone in draft picks, let alone the money, was constructed to be a passing offense. I mean, that's where you are now. By the way, what's your problem? You're 15-3. What is your problem? Always luck involved? Howie put together the best roster in the league. Think about what Yale just said. They didn't utilize any one of the giant assets and financial assets that go against the salary cap and all the things that Howie built so that the wide receiver is banged up right now in AJ. Devontae's been in and out of the lineup. The quarterback took a concussion in the run game, right? When he took off running. All of those guys have been banged up except Barkley. Why? 2.5 yards past the line of scrimmage? The football team has evolved into what it is because the players wanted that. Hey, and for the record, once again, they did something smart this year because the coaches were better this year. Kellen's like, we can't win with that. We can't win with turning the ball over. So they limit the touches. And it's resulted in a powerful – look, I just went on a diatribe about how you're going to kill the Rams. I'm not sure why you're upset. I'm not sure what you're upset about. You have everything going for you in this game Sunday. Why are you upset? Because I said that Moore is more responsible for the 15 wins than Hurts? He is. That's how he made the game plan. That's how he's constructed the team. You've won 15 games. You just won a playoff game. Now you're in line to get to the NFC Championship game. What the fuck is your problem? Okay, so Shane gets a head coaching job because of the RPO, and Kellen gets interviews because he can do what exactly if Hurts sucks. Bro, he's not getting a job in the National Football League as a head coach because of the great passing attack that you don't have. He's getting a head coaching opportunity because guess why? He had to evolve the offense, and he's evolved himself, and he's grown. This is a drop-back offensive coordinator who evolved the run game in Philadelphia to be a 50. What is your problems? Hurts has nothing to do with Kellen Moore getting a job offer. Where did he help him in that? In the run game? Okay. In the pass game? Not likely. Who in the world would hire a guy that got me marginal numbers if that's the case? Who in their right mind would hire that? Do you actually think Kellen Moore would run that same offense now in Philly? In Cincinnati with Joe Burrow? Not in your life. You saw it when he had Tanner McKee in there. I get your point on Shane killing the quarterback, but we pay Jalen. I get it. I want to see him at his best, in the best of his abilities. I'd rather it be a short-term or long-term. I got it. No, I said these dual threat guys don't have a high window. Xander, I missed the super. What the hell are you guys upset about? Kellen Moore's got 4 fucking job opportunities. And it ain't because of the passing game. What's your problems? You're right. He didn't put it. You're right. He didn't, but it was not luck. John McMullen said Howie's good at contingency plans. Well, Barkley was a contingency plan. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah. He hedged his bets, Anthony. Okay. Yeah. I'll buy that. I do. I buy that. Sure. The same. Hey, Anthony, would you not agree? Kind of the same way a little bit. Get this. This guy thinks, T. Hill thinks that Moore got paid off for Hurts' 29.03 and 18 touchdowns and 260 completions this year. There's not an owner in the world that would hire that if you had a franchise quarterback based off those numbers. He's being paid because he adapted off the quarterback and adapted into the run game and showed that he could be versatile as a coordinator. His versatility is what's getting him a job and how he called plays. Nobody in their right mind would say that the offense in Philly resembles anything he did in Dallas. Nothing. And I'm sorry you don't like that, but that's called evolving as a coordinator. And you don't have to like it, what I'm saying, and you don't have to agree with it. The facts are there. There was no passing game. He evolved out of a drop back system, and he went to a run game. That's called evolving. Well, Sills, the game plan sucked. The game plan sucked because the quarterback can't throw and read defenses and take sacks and late on throws. All of that. Kellen Moore can't make mistakes. He got fired in 2 places. Hurts struggled in 23, how he needed a backup. You know, Anthony, I'm gonna concede to that. By the way, I want to say it one more time. There's no chance in hell the run offense is not as effective without Hurts in there. I'm not suggesting that. The offensive game plan is no question. Jalen is a factor in it. There is no doubt about it. Jalen brings more of those. And Jalen's got a ton of intangibles he brings to Kellen in that offense. You've got to honor the backside plays if you're a coordinator with him in there. Okay? He's really good on throwing that slant pass to AJ. AJ Brown is a phenomenal decoy in the run game. I got to account for him. I can't. How many times did we see this? How many times did we say, dude, Jalen Hurts was not a playmaker this year. Barkley was. AJ was. I mean, Hurts was the third dude in the huddle on making plays this year. What game did he win? Pittsburgh? Okay. Barkley was the warhorse all year. Okay? By the way, why are you so upset that Kellen Moore is getting all these job opportunities because he put a great game plan together? I disagree with everyone. And I know everyone's going to go, well, he didn't improve the passing game. Nor did Nick. Nick was hired to improve and work with Jalen on the passing game. Nick failed. Brian Johnson failed. Kellen now, I guess, failed. So then you're going to get another guy. And he'll fail. Change your Eagles-Rams pick, bro. Jinx. Maybe it's the quarterback. It is the quarterback. But the coordinator figured out, hey, Yale, let me ask you something, Yale. What's more important to you, Jalen throwing for $4,000 or Jalen being 15-3 with Kellen's offense? What's more important to you? And you're in the divisional round of the playoffs. What's more important to you? Kellen putting an offensive game plan together that got you to the Divisional game, potentially to the NFC Championship game, or Jalen Hurts looking good? 15-3, correct. That's right. 15-3. So how is Kellen Moore a bad coordinator? That's why he's getting job interviews. Owners are seeing what he did. I'll give you another conversation with Stephen Jones. They can't believe it that he ran the ball as much. You know what I told Stephen? Well, you don't have the old line these guys have. You had it one time. You don't have it. I told Stephen Jones, you don't want to know the secret sauce to the Eagles? Jeff Stoutland. He's the secret sauce. You need to get Bill Callahan. The kid's son, who's the head coach in Tennessee, you need to go get Bill Callahan and put him in Dallas. You need an O-line coach. And you need somebody that can identify and spot O-linemen. Then you can put Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift. And if you happen to fall in line where you can get a Saquon, a Josh Jacobs, or Derrick Henry, and you could build your rod. Dude, the key to the Eagles, you can have a sorry-ass young defense for a bit like you did a year ago and still win 11 games if you got that O-line. The greatest coach you have ever had in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, during the Super Bowl era is Jeff Stoutland. Not Jim Johnson, not Buddy Ryan. It's Jeff Stoutland. He's helped you get to 2 Super Bowls. He's helped you win 1. And he's made you have the best O-line, not for 1 year, for 10 years. That's the secret sauce. Because Howie's going to hit or miss in free agency on defense. He's going to hit or miss. 2022 was phenomenal. 23 stunk. This year, great. It's going to go like this every year until these young players mature or don't get hurt. Or don't get hurt. Now, I'll ask the question. Okay? Excuse me, Will, did Andy Reid or Jim Johnson ever win a Super Bowl? I must have missed that. Excuse me, Buck Holter, did Dick Vermeil win a Super Bowl? I must have missed that. Okay? What? I must have missed that. And now you got this team, who I would, if the Eagles close the deal with that O-line, it'll go down as one of the greatest O-lines in history. Jeff Stoutland will have 2 Super Bowls and 3 appearances. What assistant coach has ever done better than Jeff Stoutland in Eagle history if he wins 2 Super Bowls? Name me one. Name me one. I'll wait. Here, let me give you this one. If Steve Spagnuolo wins a 5th Super Bowl, you could make the argument that Steve Spagnuolo is the greatest defensive coordinator in the Super Bowl era with 5 as a defensive coordinator. He's got 1 in New York. He's got 3 in Kansas City. And if he wins another one, that'll be 5 as a defensive coordinator. Who in the Super Bowl era? Who in the Super Bowl era? Okay? In the Super Bowl era has more Super Bowls than him as a coordinator. Belichick? Okay. Belichick, Steve Spagnuolo? That's right. There's no one compatible with that resume. Right now, he's the best coordinator by far. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings. Okay? I mean, how in the world? And he's maintained dominance in the old line. I agree. I think Stoutland needs another ring to get to Canton. I do think that. I do. Okay? I do think that. Josh McDaniel has 6 Super Bowl rings as an offensive coordinator. Oh, he'll get into the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. No coordinator in NFL history has 6 Super Bowl rings offensively. Not even Don Coryell. And he got in. Okay? Dick LeBeau. He got in as a defensive-minded guy with the Steelers. McDaniels will get into the Hall of Fame. Belichick did not call offensive plays during that Super Bowl time. McDaniels did. And he's got 6 rings. As a head coach, he stinks. As a coordinator with Brady, it's legendary. Assistant coaches are now getting in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Yeah, Charlie. Absolute shitty head coach. Okay? Shitty head coach. Tremendous coordinator. Remember something. It was Belichick and McDaniels putting all those offensive schemes together up in New England. So, how many people believe that these interviews are going to be a distraction for the Eagles on Sunday? He's getting a Bears interview next week. It'll be 4 then. He'll be interviewing for all of these job openings. I wouldn't doubt if he gets a job interview with the Jets, and we'll have like 6 or 7. He is the prototype, what teams are looking for. Dude, if you can hire that guy Callahan in Tennessee, or you can hire Dave Canales. They hired Dave Canales in Carolina off of 1 year being a coordinator in Tampa. You're telling me you don't think Kellen Moore will be a head coach somewhere in the league this year? I'm believing it more and more. It's either going to be New Orleans, Jacksonville, Dallas. I'm believing it more and more now, especially if they continue to win. If he puts that team and helps put that team, and they dominate the Rams, okay? And they dominate the Rams, he's getting a job somewhere. How is this not a distraction? Here, I'll tell you the process. Alonzo Highsmith. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, you're not re-signing Milton Williams. It's out. There's going to be a bidding war for him between Cleveland and New England. He's going to be one of the most coveted guys in free agency for defense. And I only know 2 teams that are going to be bidding for him. So he's going to be high-end guy. I do not believe the Eagles are going to pay $20 million for him, and he's going to get between $18 and $20 million. That's what I'm being told by an executive with one of those 2 teams. And one of those 2 teams, who I'm very close to, said that they covet him big time in wanting him in the building. I would say this too. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami makes a play for him too. But I know the Patriots want him. If there's anybody, without me saying and giving it up, why do you think I know what I was told last night about Milton Williams going to New England? Does anyone have an idea? Okay. And it's going to be between 18 and 20. Vrabel? No, I didn't talk to Mike. I'll give you you're getting closer on Rosenhaus. Okay. Let's see if somebody knows. Without Clint Hurt, that's a good one there, man. Let's see here. See if I'll give you just a picture. You see that guy sitting next to me? Somebody Google and see what his job title is. See what that guy's job title is in New England. That guy right there. See what that guy's job title is with the Patriots. Let's take a look at that. God, I love him, man. Let's take a look. And by the way, you know who the D-line coach is for the Steelers, right? My former teammate. Carl Dunbar. He's the personnel. He's the senior personnel executive and the director of personnel for the New England Patriots. Alonzo Highsmith. Okay. And I talked to Carl Dunbar, the D-line coach for the Steelers, saying that he's here in Cleveland. Just so you know. So you can check Milton Williams off your list. He is not coming back. So, and it's not that he doesn't. It's that there's going to be bidders that are going to command the money. Hey, don't you think Howie would have given him a contract extension now if he could for lesser money? You know why? The agents already told him, save it. Save it. They're going to test the market. How you doing? No, again, look, I think Milton deserves it. I think Milton Williams earned a good salary and to be pursued. He had a really good year. He's been probably one of the more consistent guys. And I think he's had a really good year. You know, he is on the number one defensive football team in the NFL. They are 10th in rushing, in rush defense. So he's had a really good year, man. And get this, I'm giving Milton Williams money before I give Josh Sweat money. Why? Josh Sweat's got that knee concern. Now, does Milton do this? Hey. Especially if he wins the Super Bowl. I think if Milton wins the Super Bowl, it's a foregone conclusion that he'll test the market. It's okay. I mean, shit like this happens when you're a good football team. Your coaches like Ellen Moore get taken. Other assistant coaches get taken. And, it just happens when you're a good football team. This is where you go to get general managers. Look at all the GMs that have worked in the front office in Philly that are spread out all over the league now. That's just actually, I think that's a merit badge. Okay, I think that's a merit badge. I think that's a good thing. All right. Jason Cole will join us at 4:30 from Yahoo Sports, our NFL Hall of Fame insider. Also, feeling Godfather at 5:30. We got divisional round games. We got the Monday night national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame. With all that being said, you can't put a premium on Jared Verse talking shit on people like Xander and the Eagle fans. Why in the world would that guy walk in going, hey, Xander, fuck you and your Eagle fans? And you're going to walk into the link and think that's okay. I don't know about you, man. You might as well light yourself on fire and walk into that place, man. I just don't get it. Why would you put bulletin board material up when you don't need to, when you're going to fight a bully? So you're going to piss off Mike Tyson, right? I don't know, man. Hey, Jared, you guys got your ass kicked, and now you're taking a shit on the fans. I don't know, man. Without further ado, the co-host of Birds 365, also pre and post, halftime show, post, our good friend, Big Z, Xander Krause. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Big Sills? How you living, brother? Football Friday, right? It's a good one.
It is, man. Hey, dude. So this guy first starts barking out of the gate, talking shit. You know, that sounds to me like someone who got their ass kicked in week 12 now, trying to talk tough before.
I'll tell you what, he might have got his ass kicked and their team got their ass kicked, but he's the one with the headline. He's the one who got the clip of him decking my Lotta. So he might be feeling pretty good about himself right now. But yo, Jared Verse. Fuck you, Jared Verse.
Oh, my God, man. I don't know why in the world you would want to go down that lane here, man, with this, but all good here. Xander, your takeaway here on this Friday, 2 days out from the game here, are you feeling more confident? You feeling better? Or is there a concern heading into this game? It's supposed to be in the 30s, some snow. It's going to be cold as hell. You got a dome team traveling $3,000. They played on Monday night, short work week, heading into this game also on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I feel pretty good. Remember everything I told you yesterday when I was playing devil's advocate, and I ran it by John this morning. I talked to Ed Kratz about it. You know, they got a Super Bowl coach and quarterback. That shouldn't be taken lightly. But when you talk about the trenches, like if the weather was perfect in this game and there was no issue and it was 38 and sunny in Philly, I think that would have more of an impact. And I'd still feel like the Eagles would be in good position to win the game because of the trenches. Now you add in the fact that it looks like we're going to have a snow game in Philly. I don't think Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay are going to be able to run that offense like they want to run that offense, or forget how they want to run it, like they need to run that offense to be able to stay in the game for the whole time. So I think it's a major advantage, Birds. I love the idea of a snow game. Still, I might have to skip out on the pre- and post-game show and head down to the link myself. I'm getting jacked up, Big Sills.
You might want to do the pregame from the parking lot down there.
From the freaking lots down there at the link. That would be epic. But no, it's going to be a good game. It's. I tell you what, it snowed this morning here, but it got hot. I mean, it's warm outside with sun. So I don't know how much the snow is going to stick or anything, but you know, our guy John Belaris put out that he thinks his forecast is showing that he thinks it's going to snow during the game. So that would be best case scenario. Because if it snows before, you got the heated field, you got all that stuff. It's not going to stick that well. So I think this weekend it's going to though, and you're going to have the snow during the game. That would be great.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what I hate is rain during the game. That's because of the slipping when you're on them grass fields back in the day. Well, it's a non-factor today. You know one thing about Stafford too? He's played his entire career inside at home. You know,
I think someone put out his stats. See, some of these stats I don't like because there was a stat going around about the ref that everybody talked about. That's just fake news. We're not 0-3 or whatever people said we were about the ref. So we're 2-1 since 2022 with that ref. So I don't care. I don't give a shit about the ref, and nobody should care about the ref. Who cares? But there's a stat out there that Matthew Stafford's like 1-8 in games under 25 degrees. So if you got 30 degrees in Philly with a wind chill, man, it gets frosty in this city. So I don't think I don't think it's conducive to them winning. You know, like you said, you already are in a position in this game where you feel like the Eagles have to underachieve and the Rams have to overachieve. Now you're going to add in a factor and an element where Matthew Stafford has historically struggled in. You're going to put him inside the Lincoln Financial Field after Jared Verse pissed off the entire 70,000 strong that are going to be in there. It's just not a good recipe for them. Now, I will say they do have the one interesting thing about the Rams right now is they kind of have that element of like they're playing for more than themselves because of the feel good story. You know what I mean? Look, I'm with you. I don't put any stock into it, but it does exist. And potentially you go out there, you know, you got nothing to lose. You know, you're on the road. You know, you're not expected to win the game. Just start fucking slinging that thing, you know? And sometimes when you play with a little bit of a fearlessness like that, it can lead you to good results, big results. So
why would I give a shit about a fan base who doesn't show up for me during the week and during the year? I mean, honest to God. I mean, dude, there were more Eagle fans this year at SoFi. And get this, remember what the Rams had to go to a silent count because of the Eagle fans at SoFi. Yeah, that's right. I'm playing for the Eagle LA.
Look, even M. Reyes agrees with you. That's when you know, Sileo, maybe you should shut the fuck up. Is when you have the same take as M. Reyes. Maybe you might want to check your M. Reyes. Never sleep on something's like this, his ability to galvanize around something. All right. I know the city is not a good fan base. I know the Rams don't have a good fan base, but listen, you know,
that was Philly.
40
I
million
would believe that
in these games, and Matthew Stafford's up there saying, "Hey, man, we did it for the city." I'm just saying, don't sleep on the. You know, you might be able to galvanize a little bit of fandom out of that, or at least a purpose that comes from within, whether it's there or not. They believe it's there, and that might be all you need.
Sorry for the silent pause. I didn't mean to do that.
Sorry, like, fuck those Fires, man. Come on, man. I hope everybody's all good, but who cares, man? Let's play 60.
Let's go play 60, man. Hey, how in the world today do you not feel more threatened that I'm not even talking about the guy's ability and the game plan more. Next week is going to get Chicago too. That's going to jump aboard and get an interview. So he's going to, next 5 days, have 4 job interviews for going and being a potential head coach in the NFL. I don't give a fuck what people say. When you got people sniff, that's like saying this. Well, my wife, who has 5 guys sniffing around her, and they're really loaded, and hey, there's big fat sills, that I wouldn't feel threatened.
Yo, quit degrading yourself. I'm not going to let you degrade yourself on this program.
My old lady's just going to go, hey, you know, big fella, it's been a good 35 years, but you know what, man? How would you not feel threatened if you're the Eagles when you're how about this? Just your focus on the game and the.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, these interviews are what, 2 hours a pop, probably.
Yes.
Usually. I mean, I sit here and shit talk football with you for 2 hours a day. These meetings
2 interviews for
are
4
minimum
hours.
2 hours, and there's also preparation. There's also preparation that goes into it. You know, I don't know. I don't really care. Okay, here's why I don't care.
Hours today.
No, here's what I don't care though. All right, I don't want to hear it because if we lose this game, if you think I'm going to come up on this show and say we lost this game because Kellen Moore had an interview, fuck that. That is a loser's mentality.
Like people said it about Gannon.
Yeah, and I never believed it or bought it for 1 fucking second. Wait a second. You think if Jonathan Gannon didn't have an interview that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid would have been less successful in that game?
I did not buy it. I never bought it.
Come on, man. That's a stupid take.
Eagle fans.
And by the way, the team that's the favorite to come out of the NFC right now is dealing with the times too with both of their coaches who are more sought after than our knucklehead and Kellen Moore, who really didn't do all that much here besides hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley.
Okay. Well, then how does he have 5 interviews?
I don't know. I think
yes, you do.
Because you tell me if his passing offense is so unimpressive.
What you're saying is not facts. He's got 5 job opportunities.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Listen, I'm just saying I don't think what he's done in Philly is that he had job opportunity. He had job interviews last year and the year before that. Let's call
he was fired last year.
No, but he still had he interviewed for a head coaching job last year and the year before that. So he's still been in the mix.
I'm telling you, he's got 5 interviews now for a reason, because he's 15-3. Whatever people think of him.
All right, that's fine.
So
are you giving credit to Jalen Hurts then?
You have to give it to both.
All right. Well, for all the Jalen Hurts haters out there, all right, and Big Sills, I'll ask you directly. If this guy sucks so freaking bad, why does every coordinator keep getting hired?
No, they get fired and hired.
Oh, okay. Well, they're still getting hired. Shane Steichen's a head coach.
Oh, so wait a minute. He didn't, in my opinion, this year, he was the lesser of the guys in the whole equation on winning and getting to 15-3. If I were going to put priorities on how this team got where they are, Barkley's 1, O-line's 2, AJ's 3, Hurts is 4.
Okay, so if you're a prospective team hiring Kellen Moore, then what are you looking at? What is the success you are pulling from the time he had in
I'm
Philly?
looking at the fact that he's so versatile that he had 2 number 1 offenses in the passing game in Dallas, and that he adapted to a run game and showed you his versatility, that he's 50. Hey, dude.
All right, who wants a conspiracy theory? Who wants a conspiracy theory?
Okay. Hey, because
so we hired this fucking numbnuts who comes from Dallas, which, by the way, we all hate anyway. We might say we love Kellen Moore right now. The minute that guy's out of here, we're all going to look back and say, man, I wish we didn't hire a Dallas Cowboy, especially if we don't win the Super Bowl. If we win the Super Bowl, maybe we won't care. But we hire a dude from Dallas, all right? And now he might be shipped off right back to Dallas. You know what Jerry's saying on that call that's going on right now? You throw that fucking game on Sunday. You better have Jalen Hurts throw that ball 50 times in that game, and you'll be the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Can I tell you what I would do if I was Kellen Moore? I would use the Dallas Cowboy job in my job that I'm doing now with the Eagles to win a Super Bowl, so I can jack that price up in New Orleans, Chicago, and Jacksonville. Where, get this, if I don't want that Dallas job. Where are you going with Dak? He knows he's not going anywhere. He coached Dak. He knows that. Maybe in Chicago or Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got 10 picks and $100 million in cap space. I mean, dude, I don't want to. I'm going to use the Cowboys.
A little bit more enticing than I thought. When you explain Jacksonville to me, because you think Jacksonville, and you're like, if Doug couldn't succeed there, like
10 picks and $100 million.
That owner is such a dumbass, though. And same with that GM. Why did they keep that GM around? How do you fire Doug Peterson and keep Trent Baalke? I mean, come on. That dude has done nothing. That dude has done nothing other than
he destroyed the Niners with Harbaugh. When Jim Harbaugh was there, he destroyed the Niners.
Yeah, and I'm with Fly Parks, man. I'm not really in on Trevor Lawrence. I know that people say, oh, the talent exists. It's the same thing I hear with Herbert, man. I know the talent exists, but at what point is the talent going to help you win football games? I mean, come on, man. Enough of this shit. That's where I hate the conversation about Jalen. All we want to see is more talent, but we keep winning. And with a guy like Herbert, all you see is this great talent, but they can't win a football game.
Hang on with Herbert here. They won 4 games or 5 games last year. They won 11 this year. They improved the offense. They got rid of Keenan Allen. They got rid of Mike Williams. They got rid of Austin Eckler. They got rid of everyone in that offensive huddle because it's in a rebuild, and they still made the playoffs. Dude, this is a rebuild in Los Angeles with the Chargers.
Dude, you sound like you're on the Chargers payroll, man.
Bro,
that was
what happened. There's not one guy in that offensive huddle that could start in Philly. Not one. Not one player. There was another guy in a situation, and he had Brandon Staley fucking last year, who was a train wreck.
All I'm saying is, at what point are we going to – I mean,
you
tell me all the time, man, no excuses. I have the opinion of no excuses, okay? If you got to the playoffs, great. If you get to the playoffs and you throw 4 fucking interceptions, I don't give a shit who's on your roster. You shit the bed.
Okay, if Hurts doesn't deliver the Super Bowl this year, there's no fucking excuses for having 2 14-win seasons and you not being able to, if you need to, throw yourself into a title. If he doesn't get it done, you're fucking A. I'm now even going to light this guy on fire even more if he doesn't.
Oh, we all know that's coming. And look, it'll be fair because the expectations are high for this team. The roster is stacked. The offense is damn good. The receivers are good. The offense, everything is good. So listen, you're not wrong. If this whole strategy that they've employed doesn't end up working out, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions about a lot of things. And I think they'll be fair. And we'll end up talking about them all off season long. But right now we're in a good position. And I don't think the Rams have much of a chance. So I feel pretty good about where the Birds are on January 17th.
Somebody asked me a question. Well, quite frankly, I saw somebody just ask a question saying, and by the way, all supers go to the top here. We'll read them here in a second. What has McVay done since he won the Super Bowl? They've rebuilt the organization because they were in salary cap hell, and now they're building the team back up. That Super Bowl cost them because they were using a credit card to go out and pay for all those players to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what they did. This has been rebuilding. They had a 5-win team a couple of years ago, right after the Super Bowl they won, and now they're rebuilding. I think the Rams are in a great place. Look at all the rookies that are starting in that defense this year. You got Kitchen starting, you got Verse starting, you got Fisk starting. I think the Rams, what they're doing, I think they're rebuilding themselves.
I think they've done it. I think they might
amazing
be the best drafting team in the league. Are they the best drafting team in the league?
I'll tell you.
Think about it. You pick up
Kansas City too, dude. Kansas City's hitting on it.
Oh
Oh no, you know who is? Dude, that guy Brad Holmes up in Detroit is
he's a remember when everybody laughed at him for his 2 first-round picks and Jahmyr Gibbs and Luke and Jack Campbell, and now both of them are beasts on both sides of the ball. No, they're good too. You're right. There's a couple good ones, but it just feels like the Rams, man. Every pick. I mean, you pull Puka Nacua, I think a top 10 receiver in the NFL out of the 5th round.
Laporte. Ahmad St. Brown.
That's true. What round was Brown?
I think Brown was a 3rd rounder, 4th rounder.
Was he drafted when Holmes was there though? Because he's already on his 2nd contract. Because when did Holmes go? When did Holmes get the?
He may have got there when Dan got there in 21.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. They hired them together.
Yeah, St. Brown's a 4th rounder.
Yeah, that's impressive. Now, you're right. There are some good teams. I just think what the Rams have done is impressive. I mean, you got Jared Verse and Braden Fisk this last year. I mean, they're doing good things in the draft. And remember, they didn't have picks for a long time. And now they got their picks back, and they already showed you that they hit. They're going to have the Rookie of the Year with their first pick. And then, obviously, that Braden Fisk guy is damn good, too. I mean, you look at what that Braden Fisk guy is. Listen, I know he's not talented. Yeah, I mean, dude, as a defensive tackle.
They both played at FSU. I forgot about that.
Dude, that's impressive.
FSU guys.
That's impressive work out of a rookie DT. So there's no doubt. They're solid. I don't think they match up well with the Eagles.
No, they're just not. No. Here, let me.
Did you hear Lane Johnson, by the way?
What's that?
Did you hear Lane Johnson?
No. What did he say?
No, I mean, I don't have the exact quote, but I'll paraphrase it. Basically, okay, Minnesota gave up 9 sacks to these guys. Well, we're not fucking Minnesota, okay? This offensive line ain't Minnesota's offensive line, all right? So they ain't getting no 9 sacks around here in Philadelphia. So dude, Lane Johnson's feeling good going into the game.
Let me say this to you. If the Philadelphia Eagles gave up 9 sacks in a game, I would want every fucking guy drug tested. and I would say that's not who those guys' names on the back of the jerseys are.
Right.
There is no way that team's giving up 9 freaking sacks. There is not a chance. All right. Concern heading into the game.
What's that?
How much of a concern is Elliott for you heading into this?
Elliott's a big concern for me because the reason Elliott's a big concern is because the weather. And if you're not able to get into the red zone or in the end zone in a game like this, obviously those points are going to be kickoffs. Do they have a good special team?
Kickoffs too. If it's cold, Andrew, they get this field position. You don't want to give the Rams, and you don't want the Rams starting on the 35.
Yeah, I guess kickoffs are a factor, but I more care about the points. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I agree with the other thing. You don't want to give bad field position up, but we do have a great defense. And every time I question this defense, man, they show up. Every single time I've questioned. I mean, I wondered about the Ravens game. We destroyed the Ravens. I wondered about Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. We beat up on them. I wondered about even the Rams in the first go around. We fucking made them look dumb. I mean, every time this defense has a real test.
No Dean.
What's that?
No Dean.
How big of an impact do you think?
With a guy like Stafford, 15%. Like, there could be a play in there somewhere where it goes for large yards.
Yeah, if they get that mismatch, if they're able to exploit that.
Like,
the other thing I don't love, too, about that, I know a lot of people are ready to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
No way.
And I think that's all cool and all, but I don't know, man. I don't like this spot for him, man. You're going to put that kid with all those expectations, with the legacy of his father. You're going to put him in here in a playoff. I mean, maybe he rises up. Maybe he swims and he takes off with it. But he makes one bad play. He gets beat on one route, which you wouldn't kill him for if it was any other game. He's a rookie,
Not the divisional round.
Not in the divisional round, man. People are going to be crushing him in Philly. So I don't love that spot for him, but I think Warren Burks is better than people give credit for. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this guy was a decent player in San Francisco. He stepped in for the Super Bowl. He was no Dre Greenlaw. I'm not saying that. He's not as good as Nakobe Dean, but he's not a total trash can. I don't see total trash can out of him.
You know what I would do? I'd go to some 43 looks and put Zach Bond at the mic and put him there at that mic a couple looks in there.
And what other linebackers? You want Burks and who? Will you bring in another safety or something?
I would bring down maybe Sidney Brown.
Yeah, that would be like a big nickel look almost with three safeties on the field. Get a little bit better in coverage. That's a good idea. I was thinking they'd run maybe a little bit more of that, maybe a little bit more dime coverage on passing downs, stuff like that. Because I do think you have a little bit more of a liability there with Nakobe Dean out. But overall, again, I don't think they got the guy. I mean, I guess Higbee's going to play, right? Higbee's going to play.
Higbee's going to play.
Yeah,
so that's
big.
That's going to be something to keep an eye on the seam. And I would think Corinne, who's got almost 40 catches, is also going to be somebody out of the backfield that just to keep an eye. I'm not saying they're going to have an attack of that. I'm saying that Stafford may make 2 or 3 big plays because of that mismatch in there, okay? Yeah, Yale's right. You're just going to have to be really disciplined in making sure that zone, maybe squeeze the zone down a little bit and drop those safeties down not so high and keep them down a little bit to help that linebacking core a little more, because what you don't want to get, Xander, is you don't want to get into a run game where all of a sudden LA's getting something going. If I'm LA, I'm going to run some stretch plays too. I'm going to try to tire those 2 big dudes out. And I want to try to get some lanes in there too. So I'm going to try to get to the edge. And I think Nolan's going to have a big game at the edge, maybe more so than setting the edge and even getting to the passer, that I'm going to go at him. I'm going to try to do everything I can to stretch that stretch play out. How about this one here? If the Rams playing with the lead, are you concerned about Moore and Nick panicking? And what I mean by panicking, all of a sudden starting to throw the ball more in the air, because the more I see attempts, the more that means the Eagles are behind. If I see attempts starting to climb up into the high 30s. And if you see that, that's potential 3 and out. And that means this, because here's what I said at the beginning, if you heard me. The key to this game is keeping that O-line away from my D-line. I'm not even talking about Hurts. I'm not talking about AJ. I want to keep those big dudes away from my little dudes.
Right.
And the way you do that is sustain drives. I think the Rams need 4 10 plays or more drives in this game for them to make it even a fourth quarter game, not even to win it, to get it into the fourth quarter. And I think if the Rams have the lead in the fourth and they have done that, then I think it's a puncher's shot that they have a chance to win the ball game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the exact. I think if you're the Rams,
do I think they will do that? I do not. But
that's game plan coming in is probably literally as simple as make it a fourth quarter game. If we can make it a fourth quarter game, then we're good. Then we're good going out like that. If we don't make it a fourth quarter game, then we're never going to have a shot in this game. And I think that's probably what they're. Look, you know how it goes. One score game in the playoffs in the fourth quarter. Anybody's game. It's anybody's game at that point.
And you go with the quarterback.
I think that's like I said. I think similarly, that's the Commanders' philosophy going into the Detroit game. Make it a fourth quarter game. That's all, that's how can we do that? And that's what the Rams are going to be trying to do in this game. I think the snow is going to fuck them up, man. I'm telling you, I don't think Stafford likes that stuff.
When you ever read The Art of War by Sun Tzu?
I have. That is a fantastic freaking book.
The Art of War, if your opponent is superior, pull back and adjust and attack weakness.
Right.
That's exactly the formula you do when I think that book applies, especially in sports, especially in football, to something like this. And like you said, when your opponent is superior, you've got to assess where the only place where weakness is, where you can attack. And you've got to keep that old line off the field. You cannot allow those guys to go out there and beat your team up. The Packers were on golf carts by the end of the game. You can't have that look. And get this, if you're the Rams, hey, that's great beating the Eagles, but they'll beat you up so bad for the NFC Championship game, you're going to get blown out. You've got to play smart football here. Here's another one. Do you think Hurts is going to be leaned on? What level do you think Hurts will be leaned on in this game on Sunday?
All right, so I'll tell you what. I think the plan going in is to lean on him the same way they've leaned on him in the last half of the year, where you ride Saquon Barkley on the offensive line more than anything. You hope Jalen can give you a play or two, maybe convert a third down with the legs if he needs to, be efficient and no turnovers. I think that's what the plan is going into the game. If you get punched in the mouth early, all right, we did our predictions this morning on Birds 365. I got the prediction from John, and I made him pick an MVP for the team for the game outside of Saquon Barkley. I did the same thing for Ed Kratz, all right? John went with Jalen Carter, all right, could wreck the game on the other side. Ed Kratz went with Nolan Smith outside. I went with Jalen Hurts, all right? And the reason I went with Jalen Hurts is because the same reason that you say about Jalen Hurts, I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be wrong. I think if this game gets to a point where your quarterback needs to make a play, I'm either going to be right or I'm going to be wrong on this, all right? He's either going to make the play like we've seen him do before in the postseason. He's going to rise up and he's going to meet the moment like I've seen him do many times in his career, or he's going to be a shrinking violet. I've never seen him be a shrinking violet. I don't think he will be a shrinking violet. Maybe I guess you could say he was last year in the playoff game, but I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I'm going to say Jalen Hurts with it because I think he knows all the talk. I know he says he doesn't care, and I told you I think he actually cared, but it feels good to shut a motherfucker up. And if that opportunity presents itself in this game, I think he's going to try and seize it, and he's going to make a big play.
It's Barkley all day. If Barkley's not your MVP, you're not winning.
Well, you're still going to need Barkley regardless, just like the Rams.
No. If Barkley doesn't have a large game, you're not winning. Okay? You're not winning because that meant the running game was not efficient, and I don't think he can beat you. Well, and so I like you said, we'll find out because this year he hasn't been leaned on really in any way whatsoever to go out there and
lead. Well, last time Barkley was held in check was the Steelers game.
Right. Okay.
He had 65 yards in that game.
Okay. This is the Rams in an NFC divisional game. This is a whole different world here for that.
I know it's a full different world, but we did ask Jalen to win that game through the air, and he did.
I do not believe he can do it. Okay. His wins have how he's played this year, he's hung around the 135 and the 145 number rushing. That's what he's been all year. To sit there and say all of a sudden he's going to pull a 300-yard passing game out of his ass in a divisional round game, I think is crazy. So, especially will the coordinator and the head coach allow that philosophy to go when they have had a formula, you're 15-3. With a different way of doing it. You're all of a sudden going to start doing something different. That's panic. That's what I'm talking about in panicking and hanging in. All of a sudden, you're going to panic.
Look, Saquon's
your identity. Your
Saquon's going to have to make a difference.
Your 15-3 identity is not what you said. It's not. I got 28-10.
What? 28-10 Birds?
Yeah.
Wow.
28-10. Dude, it's a fist fight.
So you got the Eagles defense being staunch again in this game, though.
Yeah, and
you're basically not buying a single thing.
Line running them over.
Boy, for as high as you talked about Sean McVay, that tells me you're not buying his offensive game plan at all in this game. 10
Dude, it doesn't matter how good you fucking are as a coach. When you got big dudes beat little dudes up. You can have the plan all you want, and you can have the Super Bowl ring.
Sileo picking an Eagles blowout? Holy shit!
Well, you know why? If they hadn't played early in the year in Week 12, I would probably be more so that I think this is going to be a closer game. But, dude, they beat them up to 317 yards rushing and 37 points. What has changed, in your opinion, that the Rams, what? They got bigger? They got tougher? Come on, dog. Who'd they sign? Aaron Donald back? Now, if Aaron Donald came out of retirement, we got a different conversation here.
Yeah.
But we don't have Aaron Donald coming
Their
out.
defense has gotten much better. I will say that. I think even in
And
the last
faster.
yeah,
Now,
in
the
the last
Dean
4 games, I
injury-
forget what the numbers are. Somebody put them out. The numbers of the last
But
4
the Dean
games.
yeah, but those are skewed now because of Dean not being in there.
I'm talking about the Rams defense.
Oh,
the Rams
the
defense
Rams-
is playing
The
better.
Rams have gotten better. They have.
Yeah, they're playing a lot better. So I think we're going to be pretty good. The injury report just came out though from the Birds, and looks like everybody's a full go. So everybody's good to
AJ?
go, man. What's that?
Including AJ?
AJ's good to go. The only person who was limited today but was back out, they did not practice yesterday, was Dallas Goedert. So he was back out there today. He had an illness, whatever that means. Not sure what that means. I guess just sick or something. But he was back out there today, limited, and everybody is cleared for the game. Outside of Byron Young, hamstring, he'll be out for the game. But he was a full participant in practice, so they're just probably not dressing him.
What do you have any question marks that make you pause for this thing?
I told you them, and I already feel like they've been answered by the weather. Like my question mark would be, all right, you do have probably a coach who one day will end up in the Hall of Fame based on the resume of his first 8 years, and he's only 38 years old. And you probably have a quarterback who will be, I think, will be, but could be very close as a pro football
Knocking
Hall
on
of
the
Fame
door.
quarterback. Right. And I don't think Matthew Stafford's in his prime, but I also don't think he's at Aaron Rodgers level where he's regressed. He's not regressed that much. So that's your only concern. And I feel like you're being helped out by you guys call it nature. I call it God, baby. God is looking out for the Birds. He's like, give us some snow in Philly. The Birds are going to the Super Bowl. Woo!
All right. Hey, okay, Hurts running for over 37.5 yards, over under.
37? I'm going to take over, man. Snow game, give me over. I might take over 50 on that.
Barkley, over, under, 111.5 rushing yards.
Over. Snow game. We're giving away a jersey on JAKIB Sports next week, baby.
Jalen Hurts, over, under, 204.5.
Passing?
Yes.
I'm going to go under on that. I think he's going to be sitting around 160 to 180, somewhere in that range, especially with the snow. But here's what I think. I think he's going to have one big play. That will be a highlight play. I think he's going to have one monster play, maybe a touchdown throw, a touchdown play, a big run on third down, something late in the fourth quarter, something. Jalen's going to do something in this game that makes you appreciate the quarterback.
He's going to have 87 yards passing.
Yeah, where's my guy Underdog? Is he still in here? He was saying like 11 to 23 for 80 yards. I'm like, oh my God, no way.
Corinne Williams, Rams, over under 74.5 rushing yards.
Kyron Williams, 74
Yeah.
it was? 74?
74.5 yards.
I'm going over on that. I like that player. He's a good player. He's got a knack for the end zone too. Remember, he kind of fucked them in our first matchup. You remember the Rams were driving early in that game.
Dropped the ball
I
on
believe with the touchdown lead, and Kyron Williams fumbled the ball. So
That's right.
I think he's got that on his mind. He remembers that. I'm sure he remembers that.
That's
so
right. He put the ball on the carpet. I forgot that. He
did. Yeah, it was a big turn, man. A big turn. The Rams, I think, had a chance to go up by 2 scores, if I'm not mistaken. Or it might have been the first possession of the game, actually.
I don't know if you could say this here, man, but Joy just texted me.
Oh,
Look at
God.
this. Look, she said thank you. It's her
I see
birthday.
it.
It's her
I see
birthday
it.
today. I said, don't let these fucking slobs fucking get in you. And she goes like this. I'm
Hey,
still working, and my company, Fox, loves me. And I said, then fuck them. Don't worry about it. I shouldn't have said fuck them, I guess.
I'm sure the company loves her.
Hey,
I'm sure the company loves her. I'm sure those execs love Joy.
Easy.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it easy.
Hey, Matthew Stafford, over under 214.5 yards in the game.
Over, baby. Over.
Give me a number. What do you think he throws for?
I think that Snow's going to limit it a little bit. I don't think he's going to get over 300 with Snow, but I'm going to say like 265, 275, somewhere in that range. About a regular Stafford game.
Do you think they make it a fourth quarter game?
Here's the problem, though. I'm giving him 260, but I think he's throwing the ball 46 times in this game. His completion percentage might be down at right around 60, 65. Yep. Yeah. And it's going to take him a little bit to get those yards because that Snow is going to impact him. So it might be 265, but it's not going to be a pretty 265 where you finesse your way to this little LA Ram lead. These boys are going to have to earn it against the Eagles.
Over under 43.5 points for the game.
43.5. Let's see. Well, if they get my score, it would be under. Okay. If they get my score, it would be under.
Mine would be 38, so mine's under.
Mine's under. Mine would be 41, so mine's under.
Snow, weather, wind.
Johnny Max, it would be 43. John has 43 points in the game.
The number is 43.5.
Okay, and Ed Kratz had a bigger score with 51 points total in the game. 30-21 he had. I'm gonna go under. I think we got a defensive slugfest here in this battle. All right. I'm going to go. And by the way, I said to you before the show, I'm an Eagle fan, so I'm not tired of hearing it. But boy, how much have we heard about the Saquon Barkley 255 game? Yeah. If the NFL world is tired of hearing about that, you better believe the guys on the defensive line of the Rams are tired of hearing about that shit. This could be a good defensive battle, Sills. Could be a real good defensive battle.
Folks, don't. He's talking stupid shit to you right now.
No, I'm just giving you other things to think about. I think the Eagles.
So, like, when you get into a fight with George Foreman or Mike Tyson, and you know a heavyweight punch is coming, all of a sudden, what? You're going to take that punch if you got knocked out in the first. Here, let me give you something here. Joe Frazier fought George Foreman in the first fight. You know how many times he knocked him down in 2 rounds? 6. Do you know how many times George Foreman knocked down Joe Frazier in the second? 6. And George is a friend of the program. It really doesn't matter, Xander, how many plans you have. He knocked him down 6 times in each fight. I mean,
I hear you.
You're
acting like I'm picking the fucking Rams. I'm giving you some things to think about. All right. I'm giving you some things to think about. I think the Birds are going to handle this team pretty easily. All right. And I've said that since Monday when we figured out, who we were, or Sunday night when we figured out who we were playing. So I feel pretty good about this game.
Okay. Puka Nacua, over under 79 yards receiving.
79 over.
Yeah.
I don't care though, because last time he had 110 versus us. Didn't mean anything.
I don't care. All right.
Now, if he gets that and Cooper Kupp gets that, all right, we might have some issues.
All right, a couple things here on the games this weekend here. Then we'll get to the supers here. Who do you like, Baltimore, Buffalo?
Thank you, Charlie. Baltimore, Buffalo. Lamar Jackson's done. That's why I put him 6th on my quarterback list, because I don't trust him. And I think he's done and dusted. I think Josh Allen is going to have a Hall of Fame level performance right now to solidify his spot in the AFC title game. And I'll let you know how I'm feeling about the AFC title game when it comes. But that dude, Josh Allen's on a mission right now. He's the best player. He, in my opinion, as it stands on January 17th, he's the best football player on planet Earth. That's my opinion.
Derrick Henry's going for 205 yards in this game. In the snow in Buffalo.
They got snow up there too?
Yeah, and he's going to fucking terrorize that Buffalo Bills defense. That's limited, and he is good. Do you want to tackle Derrick Henry in 20 degrees below zero?
You
want that freight? Do you want to stand in front of a freight train when it's 19 degrees?
Yeah. So you're picking against Josh Allen?
I know, man. I got Baltimore rolling in there. There's too many. They've got 2 stars. There's one in but I don't think he's going to play B-plus football in that game. But that's not going to be good enough against 2-star players.
Josh Allen's not playing B-plus football in that game.
Okay. All right. Washington.
Wait a second. Can I just ask you, why do you think that?
I think Baltimore's playing better football than Buffalo.
All right. I haven't seen Josh Allen play B-plus football in a game that mattered in a long time.
I saw him play B-plus against that Rams team, and it wasn't good enough to win. They got beat by the Rams.
So he's got to play A-plus, or they don't even have a shot.
Or they don't have a shot. They don't have enough talent on that team.
Well, I go back.
The Rams beat the Bills. You're giving.
I go back often to that playoff game where they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs late in the game.
What do you think of the Rams beating the Bills? They put 50 on them.
That Bills defense is not the Eagles.
And all of a sudden, Derrick Henry's not going to run that thing over. Did the Rams put?
Give me the fucking Bills. Move on to the next game.
Hey, wait. Did the Rams put 50 on that Bills team? Was that the score they put on them?
Let me look it up.
Yeah, or was it? Don't tell me.
It was 44-42, the final.
They put 44 points on that Bills team. Wow.
Listen to these QB stat lines. Josh Allen was 22 of 37 for 340 and 3 tutties.
Oh.
And Matthew Stafford was 23 of 30 for 320 and 2 tutties. Puka Nacua had 12 catches. Puka Nacua had 12 catches for 162 and a tutty.
What did Allen run for in that game, too?
Allen ran for 10 carries, 82 yards. Oh, my God. 424 total yards.
Is that the game he had 6 touchdowns in? Where he had like 3 rushing and 3 touchdowns in the air?
Yeah.
So that guy had 400 yards in the offense.
Yeah, he did. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. That's right. He had 6 touchdowns that day. Yeah, you take Lamar, okay? I watched the Eagles defense turn that guy into a freaking meatball. I'm not taking them. I'm sorry. I might be biased because I watched us dismantle them. I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking Josh Allen. I think he's the best player on earth right now.
Washington at Detroit. Do you think there's a punch or shot here for Washington rolling into this game against the Lions?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a punch or
shot. I think that Detroit Lions defense is leaky.
They're leaky, but you got to tip your cap to what they've been able to do.
Yeah, no, I do.
With that many injuries. I mean, I think there's definitely a punch or shot. I think the command. I told you at the start of the segment. I think the Commanders' game plan is the same as the Rams' game plan. How do we make this a fourth quarter game? And if by the way, if you're Detroit and you do have a fourth quarter game, I'm not feeling too hot about Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter against my defense in a 1-score game. So I think there's a big chance that
I saw Caleb Williams stretch them out.
Yeah, well, that's a little different. I'll say. I think that's a little different.
They're dual threat guys.
Divisional game though. I mean, that's a little bit different. And no, you're right though. I mean, Jaden Daniels has that dual threat ability. He's been able to really take it to teams. So I think they got a good chance. But I'm still going with the Lions in that game.
Hey, Birds fans, do you realize this? You could wake up Monday morning and be hosting the NFC Championship.
Oh my gosh! Against the Washington Communist. Yes.
Oh my God. You could be. There's a shot you could be hosting the NFC Championship game against the Commanders.
Somebody put a super chat on Birds 365 today. They're like, well, it's going to be a bad day on Monday in Washington. They're all going to be crying about Trump being inaugurated and the Commanders getting bounced from the postseason.
Wow. Okay. Houston at Kansas City. This is probably the lesser of all the games this weekend, but let me say this to you about Kansas City here. I'll tell you this about that Texans team. I'm not even going to talk about their offense. Their defense has been playing really good football as of late.
That's D'Amico Ryans, by the way.
How in the world do you not look and think that the pressure of all the teams that left, right? Of the 8 teams that are left, Kansas City's got to have the most pressure because you're going for a 3-peat. Okay, and you're playing against history here. Deserved shot here. By the way, I thought CJ played well last week, man. I mean, I thought that whole team played well.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one here at Arrowhead?
I think this game is going to be the weirdest one of the weekend. All right. And I think the Chiefs are going to win. But how many times this year have you seen the Chiefs just like squeak their way into this crazy win? I'm thinking like the Panthers game where they ended on a field goal and Butker hits it. I'm thinking it's a small margin, maybe 1 or 2 points and a field goal wins it at the end. But I'm taking the Chiefs in the game. What do you want me to bet against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid? I mean, come on. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I'm taking the Texans.
You think the run is over?
The run's out here.
All right. I don't hate that take as much as you probably thought I'd hate that take. Yeah. I do think it's going to be a close game. And based on what I said, obviously anybody can win it. So I don't have an issue with it, but.
Do you not agree that this Kansas City team is probably the lesser of the last 2 years?
Definitely. But they're also more experienced, and some of their young defenders are better. And Patrick Mahomes understands how to win more. And Andy Reid's got more experience and more accolades under his belt. He's wiser with his older age. I mean, what do you want me to do? Pick against the Chiefs? And in fact, I think you're fucking nuts.
Travis Kelce is not the same player. And Mahomes has had an up and down year all year long. That Texans team is going to be hungrier. They've got younger players. I just think Kansas City, it's more about them being out of gas than it is about whether the Texans are better. I'm going to make a point to you about something here. So think about this let's just go the last 4 years here. So look at Dallas. When Dallas' season ended when? December, at the very end of December, right? So Kansas City has gone January, February for 3 straight years. So they have had to play 14 extra games.
Right.
In the last 3 years, they've had to play 14 extra games than they have with their regular season. You don't think that catches up with the amount of time that you have played, especially with an older team, that you've played that much football? I mean, hasn't it looked like they've dude, I'm with you. They've lost 2 games. They really lost 1 because they gave that last game to Denver. I'm with you on it. But doesn't it look like they labored this year?
Yeah, but dude, I mean.
I know. I'm with you.
Dude, I mean, that's the same thing you're saying.
This is better me doing this than you giving the fucking Rams a puncher shot after the Rams got beat up in week 12.
I think it might be worse. You're talking about a fucking Texas team that's going to knock out the 15-2. Oh, the Chiefs, haven't they looked leaky all year? They're 15-2. What the hell are you smoking, my guy? Okay. You hear what I'm saying, though? I mean, let's look at this Chiefs schedule, all right? Because they have had some sneaky close games, all right? They have had some sneaky close games.
The Raiders, too. They barely beat the Raiders. On Christmas
Day. They basically forfeited for their second loss. So they're 15-2.
No. They really won. They really won loss. Hey, by the way, like you said, that's a divisional game, the Raider game. So, I mean, you got to put that in there.
They destroyed the Steelers 29-10. They already beat the Texans 27-19 late in December. They beat the Browns 21-7. I'm not impressed by that. Close game versus the Chargers. Close game versus the Panthers. Close game versus the Raiders. Lost to the Bills. Close game versus the Broncos. Beat the Bucs in overtime. Beat the Raiders by a touchdown. They haven't really blown many teams out. I mean,
and they beat the Texans by 8.
Yeah, beat the Texans by 8 late in December, 27-19.
Yeah, and that's a 1-score game.
CJ Stroud had 2 picks in that game.
Okay, so clean that up. Where are you? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean. See, remember the reason why I'm picking, because I think this game will be because you even said it.
I'm sorry. I don't know how you're picking the right.
No, but you said this game will be close, did you not?
I did.
Okay, well, I'm just going the opposite way of it being close. Okay,
I just feel like they're getting healthier at the right time. I mean, they're healthier now.
I think
they got back Hollywood Brown. They made Xavier Worthy something.
Extra week for Travis Kelce too in that O-line.
Yeah, I'm with you on Travis though. I mean, he doesn't look the same at all.
No. Let's get to the supers.
Lord's Grace, what's up, bro? The most sacks given up this season was 6 by Tampa Bay. Jalen loves taking sacks. It drives Dan up the wall. I know.
It does because it takes him out of field position. But he's come to the conclusion that taking the sack is the safer play than throwing the ball down the field, which is correct.
What's up, everybody in the chat? Let me get a chat check. Look at my guy Twiz. Where's Twiz at? Twiz got his there he is. What's up, Twiz? Appreciate you, brother. There's Flex. What's up, everybody? All right, here we go. Crow Server. I like that name. It's Nick, it's Johnson, it's Moore, it's Never Hurts.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, no, it's right. Well, how many? Let's see now. It wasn't Nick, because Nick was 2-5 when he was a shitty coordinator with Hurts. Then it was Brian Johnson, who sucked. He's terrible. By the way, he's doing a hell of a job with Jaden Daniels. And by the way, Brian Johnson's in the divisional round of the playoffs versus the Detroit Lions, with Jaden Daniels will be the rookie of the year as a quarterback coach there in Washington. Thought I'd throw that in the room. Oh, by the way, are you not playing against Sean Desai too this weekend? Oh, that guy sucked too. Funny. He's helped Chris Shula with the defense. Boy, those two scapegoats. How come the two guys you fired are in the playoffs in the divisional round?
Because they were scapegoated.
Wild?
Because they were scapegoated.
Wild. Okay.
That's it. That's all the supers we got. We were dead today.
By the way, that's what I'm saying is, isn't that funny? All those coaches that they blow out and they want to land on and saying this guy sucks, that guy sucks. And yet Kellen Moore's got 4 fucking job interviews. I'm sure 2903 and 18 touchdowns helped him get those interviews instead of the 15-3. Okay. What do you think helped Kellen get those job interviews? 2005 rushing yards or 2903? Holy shit. I just realized it. You mean to tell me Jalen Hurts only had 900 more? Oh shit.
What are you saying over there?
Wait a minute. So Jalen had 900 more passing yards than fucking what Barkley had 2,000 yards rushing. He had only 9. Oh, and I forgot. That's right. We got to add the rushing in. I forgot because dual threat.
I told you guys. I told you that's why I wasn't that impressed with Kellen Moore. But you remember, you gave me shit, and everybody in the chat.
15-3. He gets the credit too, Junior.
All right, that's fine.
Well, does he not?
That he gets some. I mean,
Last year they had all these huge numbers for the receivers and the quarterback, and they had a 6-game losing streak. This year the guy's in the divisional round. He's 15-3, and fucking he gets no credit for it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, but here's the pushback. He inherited the greatest offensive lineman coach in the league and a great run game.
So
and
did
basically, Hurts. Just from the decision to run more, he's being credited with everything. I mean,
so did Hurts. He inherited that.
Well, not really.
No, the only difference is what is Isaac. No, wait, it's the center. Holy shit, man. Let's land. Oh, my God. You've now become an apologist for the Jalenites. Bumper! Where are
I'm not apologizing for the Jalenites.
Where are you, Pumper, when I need you?
Everybody's making fun of me because I'm yawning. I know Silly has put me to sleep. Shit topics today.
No, you know what's put me to sleep? 2903.
Yeah, I know. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that one. But
good, brother. I'll tell you what, though, dude. I'm really looking forward to this weekend, man. I can't wait to see these games. Dude, there's really a chance you could be hosting the NFC Championship game come fucking Monday. That would really be wild.
Dude, if we're hosting the NFC title game, oh, my God. I got to get tickets to give away somehow.
Bro, we'll find him. We'll find him.
Get him.
Yeah,
I'll get some. I told you I re-upped on the – well, I didn't go yet, but I spoke to my guy. I re-upped on the – yesterday we did the promotion on Bird Street.
He's got a guy in South Philly who knows a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, 100%. That's how Philly works. Anybody who lives in Philly knows that. You got to know a guy that knows another guy, and maybe you can get connected to the other guy that everybody wants to know.
That's right. And
that's how it works.
He's sitting out front of Lincoln Financial going like this. Hey, I got 3 right here. They're on the value. They're going to be right there on the 25-yard line. I'll give them to you for 125.
Big Z knows. Big Z knows all the guys you need to know. All right, that's networking at its finest.
Dander, great stuff, brother. I'll see you on Sunday.
I can't believe you picked the Texans. I can't believe you picked against Josh Allen. I can't believe I can't believe you picked the Eagles and you picked the Lions or the Commanders. Who'd you pick?
Oh, I got the Lions all day.
Okay. All right. So you had 2 shit picks and 1 good pick, or 2 good picks.
Yeah, you know what?
50% from the field. That's about
what. The great things you'll always know about Big Sills: unpredictable.
50% from the field on good picks and bad picks. Good job, brother. I appreciate you.
Right.
Oh wait, one more Super Bowl. Let's read it. Door Gunner. Hurts averaging like 130 passing yards and playoff wins. Take the ball away from Hurts and you win. LOL. But he's elite. Best NFC QB is in DC.
Thank you. He is. How you doing? By the way, can you imagine if the Commanders win? That means that they would have won 14 ball games this year.
That's crazy, dude. Dude, that's crazy. I don't care if they're a division rival. You got to tip your cap sometimes.
You bet.
Dirty D said you skipped his.
Hey,
Dirty
Josh,
D, I didn't see that.
Can I say this without anybody taking a gigantor shit on me?
Oh.
Josh Harris has had a pretty good first year owning that team.
Oh, yeah. Well, he cares more about football because there's more money to be made in football.
That's
Dirty
right.
D says Travis Kelce has lost a step. I wonder if that has anything to do with Taylor Swift or him taking the flu shot in 17 boosters.
Hey,
blood, baby.
Hey, Dirty D, don't rip on Mr. Pfizer. Come on, man.
Listen, I'm not doing that. But yeah, Big Z's pure blood, baby. All right, Big Z's pure blood. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you all.
Got it, brother. I'll see
Let's
Sunday.
go, Bears. We need a big win this weekend, boy. Come on, baby. All right,
see you Sunday, brother.
Later.
You got it. That is our friend. Make sure you guys check him out. Don't forget to, on Sunday, we have the pre and the halftime and the post-game show. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS, too, during this football time. Monday night, too, is the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Our great friends at BetUS, make sure you team up for the YouTube 150. Sign-up bonuses up to $2K. Your second and third are at 125%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year. Live wagering on all major games. And if you want a private account executive, he will set you and they will set you up with that. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES. Eagles.
How about Bobby Wagner? By the way, Big Sills, please hit the like button. Jason Cole's going to join us here in a couple minutes. How about what Bobby Wagner said? So Bobby Wagner was asked a question about Jared Goff. He goes, I don't think he's any better than Kenny Pickett. I'm like, okay. We're going to force him into making some stupid throws. What was the exact quote that he said? Goff is no better than Kenny Pickett. This is Bobby Wagner, the starting linebacker for the Washington Commanders. Okay? He's no better than Kenny Pickett. That is getting it, man. Hey, there's some shit talking being said here. Boy, Washington wants a piece of Detroit, man. I actually like that team doing that. I really don't like the Rams doing that because the Rams got their faces kicked in. Washington doesn't believe they're going to get their faces kicked in. And he's like, hey, Jared Goff is no better than Kenny Pickett. I think that sends a message to everybody else on the roster. Bobby Wagner's a Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Fame player. It's completely different, like Yale said. It's completely different. He's a Hall of Fame football player. Jared Verse is a rookie. And he got his ass kicked. His team did. Got their asses kicked in week 12. That's got a different feel to it. So I'm good with it. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. We appreciate you guys doing it. I want to read you something before we move on here. So tell me what you make of this. This is Jalen Hurts here. And somebody just tweeted me at Dan Sileo Show. By the way, if you're not following me, please do me a favor. Follow me over on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. So check this out. Jalen Hurts in his 3 wins in the playoffs. 23 attempts in wins, 39 attempts in his losses. So let's put these numbers here. Passing yards. 135 yards passing in the 3 wins. In the losses, 271 in the 3 losses. Rushing yards are pretty much the same because he's a dual threat. And this is exactly what I've been telling you. Total TDs, 6 in the 3 playoff wins, 6 in the 3 playoff losses. So, all of you guys said that Jalen Hurts having a big game. I think Xander said, correct me if I'm wrong, Xander, I think you said Hurts is going to have big plays in the game. Not a big game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But here, Jalen Hurts in the games, if he averages 39 attempts and over 270 yards, he loses. If he goes for 23 attempts and 135, he wins. That's why I say 135-40. I say that every week for the kid because you know why? That's who he is. 140 passing yards, 40 yards rushing. That's the formula for the Eagles to win. That's been the formula this year to win. Has it not? Has it not? I think this is going to be a hell of a playoff weekend here. And I think this is going to be as good as it gets here because I do believe that these are the 8 best football teams that you're looking at here for this weekend. So do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button here. And without further ado, our dear friend and Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, our friend Jason Cole. I'm sure Jason can't wait for this weekend's game as well. There's a great list of games this weekend. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. So let's bring him up now, our friend Jason Cole. Jace, appreciate a pretty good weekend in football, no?
This is the best weekend of the year, I think. You got 4 games and highly competitive. I mean, you just get a lot of football and a lot of great matchups. So yeah, I love this weekend. And I do love the matchups. I mean, I think that each one of these is a challenge in its own way.
How about this one, Jace? What do you give me your thoughts on Rams rolling in? I mean, you know, Matthew Stafford's playing really good ball, and you know, you've got a Super Bowl coach. You've got absolutely a lot of things going on here with the Rams. But in that Week 12 game, they had 317 yards rushing rolled up on them and 37 points. How much do you think that game plays into this game on Sunday, especially if it's a snowy game? How do you see that football game?
Well, I mean, I would think Chris Shula will have learned quite a bit from that game, right? And he's going to try and figure it out. Now, I think that game got out of hand because situationally it got out of hand. Like they had to gamble at the end of the game and got hit up. You know, Saquon had what was it, an 80-yard run? I can't remember how long it was.
Yep.
But, you know, he broke this. I'm not saying it wasn't a meaningful play. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that sometimes defenses gamble a little bit, take chances on plays at the end of the game because they know they have to get a turnover. And if they get gashed, you know, they give up a big yardage numbers, but it's not necessarily reflective of how the rest of the game went. I mean, I think Philly's just better, if you're asking me, and I think they should win this game. I don't think they dominate the way that they did the first time. But I don't think that they really care about that. Like, I thought in the first round of the playoffs, they were playing that game like, okay, let's get through this one. Make sure we get done with this one. Jalen looked a little bit careful in that game, is what I thought. I think that they play a little looser, but I think that they're just playing like, hey, we got to make sure that we get to the NFC Championship game. And then they're going to let it all hang out right there in that game. That, to me, is the game that they're really pointing to. Now, that can be dangerous. It can bite you in the ass because you can sometimes lose games that way. But I didn't see a team that was out there taking a lot of chances because they just think they're better.
Let me ask you something here because I've had people in Philadelphia here, and I completely disagree with a colleague of mine when it talks about Sean McVay. I said this kid's 38 years old. He's got 8 playoff wins. He's 8-4. And in those 8 years, he's got 4 division titles. He's got 2 NFC championship games. He's got a Super Bowl. You could make the argument, Shula young, Madden young. This kid's got quite a resume, Jason. I mean, do you think that Sean McVay's overrated?
Overrated?
Yeah.
Who thinks he's overrated? The people in Philly?
Yeah.
In what world? He's been to 2 Super Bowls and he's won a title. He had the stones to walk away from one quarterback when he realized that quarterback wasn't good enough, right? And go with a Hall of Famer in Stafford. I mean, not positive Stafford's a Hall of Famer, but he's certainly got the resume, right? But
he's knocking on the door. He's knocking on the door.
Right. Well, here's the point. Like, you had the stones to walk into your owner and say, yeah, we just paid, $100+ million to Jared Goff, but I need to make this trade for Matthew Stafford. Like, that's some guts as a coach. Like, that's serious guts. So I'm just, I don't know why anybody would refer to him as overrated. With the moves that he's had to make and the accomplishments he has, this is a guy who's tracking towards a Hall of Fame career. I don't think he's there yet, but he's tracking there.
How about this too? Do you think he's the best coach or the second best coach in football right now?
I'm really partial to Kyle Shanahan, even though even though McVay has a championship. I would be partial to Kyle Shanahan. I just think he's done more with less. Like, if you had given Kyle Shanahan Stafford with the 49ers, like, they would have won a title. He's gotten by with a little bit less at quarterback. I think that's fair to say. Andy Reid is obviously the best coach in the league.
Don't you agree the Rams have a better front office than what the 49ers do, with less needing Kevin Demoff and the amount of money that they've been able to move around? Whenever he needs a free agent, they go get it. Look at the draft picks they had. There's 3 rookies starting in the defense right now with Cameron Kitchens, with Verse, and with Fisk. I mean, they've done a nice job.
49ers have a pretty good roster. 49ers have a pretty good roster. The difference is one of them's got a guy who's maybe a Hall of Fame quarterback, and the other one has been going through guys. Whether that's Garoppolo, whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's now Purdy, like, they've gone through a bunch of different guys trying to figure out the quarterback position. And they just, I think they have a guy who's a starter, but he's not Matthew Stafford starter. There's a difference there.
I want to read you something, Jason, and tell me if you take anything away from this, or you just think that this is just coincidence. And Jalen Hurts is 3 wins in the postseason. He's 3-3 in the postseason. 23 attempts, 135 yards, and 36 yards rushing in his 3 wins. When he's had to throw the ball 39 times, 271 yards a game, and 38 rushing attempts, he's got 3 losses. It just shows you. And this year, that's been the formula. Ever since week 1 against the Packers, he threw the ball 38. After that, they never threw the ball more than 25 times in any game. And at times there were even games where he threw the ball 14 times. They took it out of his hands and put it into the running back. What do you make of that? That Philly is the only place that you get that runway where that quarterback doesn't have to be great in the postseason. He's just got to be efficient. Where when you look around the league, every quarterback, look at Sam Darnold. He turns back into a pumpkin. That team looked like shit. Quarterbacks have to play well for them to – Allen's got to play great this weekend for them to move on to the AFC Championship game. Hurts is the only guy that doesn't have to play great. Doesn't it seem like that, or am I making something out of something that's nothing?
No, you're right. That's accurate. I mean, but Jalen has to do his job more so than in other places, or not more so, but he's got to do what he has to do. But they went out and got Barkley as a perfect complement to everything else they're trying to do. So to me, you shifted the focus of this team from being a pass-first team or quarterback-centric team to having a running back who's that dynamic. And when you have a guy that's that talented, why not? Like, why wouldn't you be leaning on Saquon Barkley? Why wouldn't you say, okay, we're going to maximize the receivers when we have to, but we're setting everything up in a classic way, especially now that we have a defensive coordinator who is taking full advantage of the kind of depth that we have on defense, particularly the defensive line depth. I mean, they've done an amazing transition here along the defensive line when they've lost 3 guys off of last year's team, right? And 4 guys in the last 2 years. And they're still going because they've got Jalen Carter playing extraordinary football. So give Vic Fangio a lot of credit. But when it comes to Jalen, look, the bottom line is you just want to win games. And there's no reason to put the ball in the quarterback's hands and throw it 35 times if you don't have to. You don't have to expose yourself to that kind of risk. And yeah, Jalen is not the greatest pure thrower in the history of the league, but he does things with his legs and he does enough things with his arm that they put themselves in a perfect situation. Like they've dominated here in the since the 4-game mark. They were 12-1, right?
Yeah.
And really there wasn't much question about the playoff game. Yeah, they didn't wax them. Okay, but they won that game. They were in control of that game the whole way through.
I completely agree here with that. I do. Let me ask you this one here. What's your take on, and look, I'm not hating on Kellen Moore, and I'm not hating on anybody who, like Ben Johnson up in Detroit. What do you make of the in-game interviews or the in-season, in-playoff season interviews? Like today, Kellen Moore's got 2. He's got one at 4:30 Eastern with the Jags. He had one earlier with the Cowboys, and this is during preparation. And then on Saturday, he's got an interview with the Saints, Zoom call interview with the Saints. I'm not saying it doesn't exist without the rest of the playoff teams, because I know Detroit's going through that too. What's your take on all that there? Because you know as well as I do, human nature, Jason. You mean to tell me I could become the head football coach potentially of the Dallas Cowboys, or I could be the head football coach of the Saints or whatever team that's out there? The Bears are going to be calling them next week. What's your take on that stuff when you're in the middle of a playoff run that these guys get an opportunity of interviewing?
Look, it's not optimal, but the flip side of it is, do you want teams that are like, teams can't afford to wait. So waiting until the season is completely over is too hard, and it hurts the guys who are coordinators if they don't take interviews during this process. The other side is you don't want teams that are making decisions on coaches, like in season, right? Like, okay, I fired my guy in November. I fired him in the first week of December. And I've worked my back channels to make sure that I got this next guy that I'm hiring, because I can't afford to wait on the coordinators, because I don't want to wait until the end of the season. So you got to let them interview. But the bottom line is, for any coordinator who's interviewing for a job, is you better win games. Like, whether you get this job, if you're Kellen Moore, your focus is always on, I better win this game, or that my legacy gets shortened when I don't win games when I have this kind of opportunity. So ultimately, I think the guy's focused on the most critical thing. Now, I don't like it. 3 interviews is a lot. He's obviously not going to be completely and totally focused at those moments, but this is the way the situation works in this league.
See, Jace, I think it's got everything to do with the draft, because the draft's in April, and if you play in the Super Bowl in February, you got 1 month to get into the building and put a staff together and get and understand. That's why I think it's the draft. Maybe they should stretch the draft out a little longer and put that puppy in.
It's not really about the draft. It's more about putting a staff together. You hit the right subject, but one of the biggest problems that you have as a head coach in this league is, can you go find really good teachers?
Right.
Can you find good assistant coaches? And people don't underrate that. They don't understand how valuable, how important it is to get guys who are experienced in those spots. And when you start to lose them, like if Robert Saleh doesn't get a job, he's going to be number 1 on a lot of people's lists as a defensive coordinator. So you better have your job and ready to go. Now, I think that obviously Kyle Shanahan has a big in with him if he doesn't get that job, but other people are going to want Saleh, if that can possibly happen. So, this is part of it. You don't want to be the last guy to make hires, because you end up with the bottom of the barrel in your coaching staff.
Let me ask you your quick opinion on these games. Baltimore, Buffalo, who do you like in this ball game?
To me, this is a Baltimore game. Like, Baltimore is the best team in the league in terms of statistical performance and ability to dominate a game. They showed it against Pittsburgh. I know everybody was talking about, oh, Pittsburgh's got their number and this and that. And it was sort of true in the first game of the season, but Justin Tucker blew that game, right? They really should have beaten them in Pittsburgh. And then they dominated them the last 2 games. And, Pittsburgh's a quality football team. That's a good, solid defense. And they got dominated. And when they played earlier this season, against Buffalo, they dominated Buffalo. And I think Buffalo has probably gotten a little bit more sturdy on defense against the run. But they're not, going to just – this ain't, like Sam Adams and Tony Siragusa in Baltimore where they can just hold the point. Like, we're not budging at all. And we're just going to wreck everything that you do. That's not what Buffalo does. They want to get into passing situations. They want to get into where they're forcing you to throw it a lot and take away your running game. But I think that, the Ravens just – they're so physical, and it makes Lamar so great. This is the best combination of how, at least in a regular season, it's the best combination of how a quarterback and a running back have been able to play together. Certainly since the best days of Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch, and very similar to John Elway and Terrell Davis. That kind of effectiveness. That's how good these 2 guys are together.
I love that comparison, Jason. Washington goes into Detroit. Any puncher's chance, in your opinion, walking up there and stretching them out a little bit? Hard to believe Washington's won 12 ball games with a shot at winning 13 ball games. This has been a great year. Does it end in Detroit, in your opinion?
They got a shot, a little bit. They're probably going to get overwhelmed defensively, and Detroit's going to put up enough points, and they're going to put them, behind the 8 ball and force them to throw too much. But man, Jaden Daniels, that's real, man. That's real. My favorite thing about Jaden Daniels is even when things don't work, he's got that smile. Like, yeah, I know, I got it. Don't worry, I got you covered. I know what you're doing to me. I know what you're trying to. I know how you're trying to play me. It's freaking awesome to watch him.
He is amazing. Last one here for you, Jace. You're gonna think I'm nuts and I'm on the University of Miami juice or something again. Houston, Kansas City. I got Houston in an upset at Arrowhead.
How are they blocking Chris Jones?
They're all.
Look, I love the people. And you're not alone. There's a bunch of people who, are saying yeah, and they're buying into this whole thing that, the Chiefs aren't that good. And they've got a negative yardage per play differential, and they've just squeaked by some people. And I get it. Andy Reid with a couple of weeks to prepare. Number one. Okay, good luck with that. Number 2, do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to throw 4 interceptions? Good luck with that. Do you remember watching Houston's offensive line most of the season?
I do.
I think Houston was a home dog in the playoffs, right? That's going to piss you off. Players get pissed off when they get disrespected like that. Home dog in a playoff game. Okay. Taking on Jim Harbaugh, who's, is God's gift to coaching. So that they're going to, rise up to want to beat them. And then, Justin Herbert threw 4 picks. That game was really close through 3 quarters. The score doesn't look like it. The score does not say how competitive that game was because Justin Herbert, had a horrible day. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to bet's not going to have a horrible day. Not at least like that. And yeah, Kansas City has not played great football this year, but this is their lowest ratio of passes to runs in the Mahomes era. And there was a specific reason for that. And Mahomes has been sacked more than any time during the Mahomes era, right? They couldn't protect him. They had to play small ball all year long, or else Mahomes was probably going to end up getting hurt. So they had to play close to the vest kind of games. They lost once in a real game, and then they lost against Denver. Now, they could, Houston could upset them because Kansas City's not overwhelming anybody. But I just don't see it in this round. Maybe in the AFC Championship game. But this is not really the team that I see doing it. Possible, but I don't see it.
I got to tell you, we had Mark Trestman on this week. He now works for Jim Harbaugh in Los Angeles, and he was on. He was spectacular the other day. You kind of had bumped around with Jim Harbaugh, the Harbaugh family. And I got to tell you, he said something about working with Jim Harbaugh. Here's a guy that his resume, whatever you think about him as the head coach, again, I get it. But as an assistant, he is really well respected around the league. And Jim has him as a senior executive assistant with him. He's his right-hand guy there in Los Angeles. You know what he said about him, working with him? He said, when you're around Jim Harbaugh, he is a life-changing person. When you're around him and you talk with him, he goes, he is absolutely, with all the coaches from Bud Grant to everybody that I've ever been around, I've never been around a coach who is a life-changing man like that. He goes, he's completely inspiring. And just to sit there and listen, he goes, I can't believe on what kind of guy. He was his quarterback coach in Indianapolis when Mark was the OC. So he's like, I've never been around it. Does that shock you when you hear that? I mean,
no. Jim is larger than life personality. And when you get that, some of the stuff is exactly what Trestman's talking about. And some of it's insane. Like, some of it's crazy. Like, you'll hear nutbag stories about Jim Harbaugh. But he is 1,000% about how do we win football games and how do we become better as men. And, he's got a lot of Marty Schottenheimer to him. Right? Like, he's got a lot of that without Marty. Like, Marty was just like, it was a speech every 5 minutes, and guys got tired of the shtick.
Correct.
Okay. I think Harbaugh has learned to temper it a little bit. But, like, my favorite story about Jim Harbaugh, and I've heard a bunch of them from the Stanford days. There's some nutbag ones. But, like, on Christmas Eve, they held a full padded practice in advance of, like, I don't know, it was the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl, something like that. It's Christmas Eve, full pads. The guys start to get into a brawl because he lets it get chippy. And Jim's, like, smiling on Christmas Eve as his team gets into a brawl. That's Jim Harbaugh.
Do you think he wins he wins the Super Bowl there?
Yeah. He's got the quarterback. I mean, look, it's going to be hard. I mean, look at the quarterbacks in the AFC. Yeah, like, everybody's on Pittsburgh and on Tomlin, this week. And some of it's justifiable. I get it. But you go against those quarterbacks. And Brady's not even part of it anymore.
I know, man.
They got Mahomes, they got Lamar Jackson, you got, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
I know.
I mean, Justin Herbert. It's just a murderer's row of guys who are incredible players. Just incredible players.
Jason, I'm going to leave you with this here. So Gary Myers reached out to me kind of like you did. And you know what he said to me? He goes, oh, I see. So you're like Cole and the rest of these guys that aren't going to believe that Eli, he did say this, that Eli's not a first ballot. And I go like this. I'm not telling you anything about Jason. I don't know anything about, he goes, Jared Bell too. He's questioning it. And I'm going like, I'm sorry. I do not think Eli Manning is a first ballot. I think he'll get in, but I do not think he's a first ballot guy. And get this, that conversation.
You think he's going to get in this year?
No. Oh, yeah, probably, because there'll be a push because the Manning family's like royalty. But what I was going to tell you is that meeting that you guys have, that vote, When you're down there, that's going to be contentious down there because I can promise you there's going to be a big room. That may be the most contentious conversation about a player that you 50 guys have ever voted on.
Okay. The meeting doesn't happen at the Super Bowl anymore, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
But I'll just say we'll have an interesting discussion at some point. I'm interested to see how the conversation goes.
Well, it won't be just standing up and sitting down like it was for Peyton.
No, that's not. That ain't happening. Gary knows better than to try and do that. Yeah, Gary Glauber's not going to do that. Gary's not going to do that. The New York guys can't get away with the stand-up, sit-down routine. That ain't.
It's the New York guys.
The New York guys ain't getting away with that. Let's just.
Oh my God.
Their feet will be held to the fire. Let's just put that.
That is fantastic, Jason. Have a great football weekend, my friend.
I'll see you, dude. Be good.
You got it, man. Jason Cole. I got it, man. That's fantastic stuff. So it's the New York guys. I got to tell you guys. So I told you I'm on these panels that put together the information for potential Hall of Fame guys. And so Jared Bell, he contacted me and he goes, "You think Eli Manning's the first ballot?" I go, "No, I don't." He goes, "I don't either." And I go, "Okay." He goes, "But the New York guys," he said the same thing. So the New York guys, okay, the New York guys are making a push here. Now, wait a minute, guys. Listen, I see Yale here, and I'm gonna show you something here on Eli Manning being a first ballot Hall of Famer. You tell me this. So here's Eli's last 10 years as a starter. 1-3, and they yanked him. 5-11. Okay. 6-14 in 2 years. 3-12. That's 9-26 in 3 years. 6-12 or 6-10. That's 15-36. Another 6-10. He was 21 of 46 his last 5 years in the NFL. And you're telling me you think that's a first ballot. And on top of that, he's 117. He's 500 as a winning quarterback. I'm going to tell you, Yale, I think without a doubt, he gets into the Hall of Fame, and he's a Hall of Fame player because of 2 MVPs in the Super Bowl. I completely agree. But I think Eli Manning, I don't see it as a first ballot. I just don't see it. His last 10 years, he was not very good. Now, is that because the Giants weren't very good? Probably. Okay, I didn't realize that Eli has a losing record versus the Birds too. And look at it. Okay, that's why I'm not voting on Eli. I don't have a vote. I put the information together for about half of the Hall of Fame. You know what that means? One day I will be a voter. That's what you become an intel guy. Or the information guy, where you put the information for the voters and the voters get to take it. That's what the progression is. So one day I'll be picked to be a voter for the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame set this up for me, and so did Jason and a bunch of other guys. So I would not vote for him on first ballot. I would think that Eli will probably be a second ballot Hall of Famer. And I think there's a great chance he'll be a first ballot. You guys, just a little bit. That's right. Hey, Young, I think Rivers is better. I think Eric Allen has a chance to have that door knocked. It's going to be close. I've polled half of the voters, about 25 of them, and Eric asked me to do this. Please, just between all of us. So I think it's going to be close that Eric gets the knock. It's going to be close. He's a well-liked guy. I don't think him working for the Raiders helps him. Okay? I don't think that helps him. There's still old school voters that have some sort of axe against Al. Al's been dead for years now. And the kid's nowhere near Al Davis. Not even remotely close to it. So, I don't know. Is that what it was too? Buckholter? No, he doesn't have a 60% completion percentage. Holy shit. He does. That stinks. A 60% completion percentage. He's 117 and 117. Dude, Donovan McNabb has better numbers. Or postseason records. No. Who would you take in a game? Eli or Donovan? Who would you take in a game? Man, I might take Donovan. If I had to pick between Donovan McNabb and Eli Manning in a playoff game, who would you take? Eli? Eli's streaky as hell, man. I might take Donovan, though. Donovan was awful good in the postseason, except when he got to I got it. There were meltdown games. All right. Philly Godfathers right around the corner. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure you team up with our great friends at BetUS during this football time. Don't forget, Monday is the national championship game with our great friends at BetUS. And this time of the year, it is the YouTube 150. Sign-up bonuses up to $2K. First and second, again, is $150 for your first on the YouTube special on your sign-up bonus. The second is $125. Your third is also $125. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business. 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. We'll reset here in a minute. And the Philly Godfather will be here to help you earn some money. Tell me something here. What's the complaint and what's the bitch with Chris Carter in Eagle fans? Is it all over the fact that he was fired and cut by Buddy Ryan because he was a cokehead? Is that what it was? Because Chris Carter was a cokehead in Philly? Thank you, Wayne. 212 likes. Let's see if we can get that bad puppy to 250. Is that why he had a problem with Eagle fans? Because he got fired for being a cokehead? Guy's a Hall of Fame guy. He said the Eagle fans are the worst people that he's ever been around. Yeah, no, he was a cokehead in Philly. That's why Buddy cut him. I'll tell you the story. Jerome told me. By the way, to be fair to Chris, he was at Jerome's funeral. He was there. Yeah, he had a massive coke problem when he was in Philadelphia. Buddy Ryan found out and said, son, I'm going to save your life. And Buddy cut him, helped him get into rehab, and called Dennis Green up, and Dennis Green hired him. And he went on to have a Hall of Fame career. Buddy saved his life. Okay? Buddy said, you need to get your life together, son. Chris didn't have his life together in Philly, but he, for whatever reason, holds a grudge against the Eagles for cutting him, for saving his life. And then he turns around and takes a shit on the Eagle fans. Some people hold grudges, man. I mean, that's right, Forrest. I'm with you. Forrest is right. He's dead right with this. Dude, Jesus criminy. They drafted you. I was in the same supplemental draft when you took him. Bosworth, me, and Chris Carter. Carter was taken. Bos was a first-round guy. I was a third round, and I think Chris was a fourth round. We were in the same supplemental draft. And Chris, I think, had an agent problem at Ohio State or something like that. And he got declared ineligible because he was taking money at Ohio State, or he got caught taking money at Ohio State. I forget exactly. And when he got to Philly, he turned into a cokehead. You guys go like this. Gee, Sills, that's pretty harsh. Well, almost ruining your career is harsh. I'm harsh on myself. I ruined my career. Not over drugs, being stupid, imploding things. You know how many things in my life I've sabotaged and self-sabotaged? Half my life I've self-sabotaged shit. So I'm an understander of this. My wife will tell you, as many great jobs as I've had, I've cost myself great jobs as well because I self-sabotage myself. I'm just being real as I can. And Yale goes, it's part of who I am too. You know, it's just who I am. I can in a minute ruin anything. because that's just my nature. You know, I mean, I've had great opportunities in my life. And I've said this before to people. I would never want to be anybody else than me. I'm very happy with the things that I've done in my family and my daughter and my wife. 37 years or whatever, almost 40 years married. I'm good. Okay? I mean, I'm good. So, yeah, I just, for the life of me, though, Chris Carter can't let that go. Man, from what I remember, I thought Eagle fans were great to him when he was here. Okay? The game was dangerous with or without PEDs. Fair not to use them, but that day it wasn't fully regulated. Shit, man. Taking PEDs or taking prescription drugs, cortisone shots, Percocets, Percodans. I've never been more of a drug addict in my life than when I played pro football. I have never in my life been a bigger drug addict than when I played pro ball. I mean, between the Percocets, the Percodans, the volumes, you're a drug addict. Then you take the cortisone shots. I mean, I'll give you guys one thing before we move on here. Have you guys ever swam in a lake or in a swimming pool and you come out of it and you swam too long and your eyes are all fuzzy and hazy? It's all hazy because you've been in the pool too long or you've been in the lake or ocean too long, right? It's all hazy. At the end of an NFL season, that's how you feel because you've taken so many Percocets and Percodans. And back then, they used to just put those pills in your locker. I don't even know who put them in there. They were used to be in these brown little manila envelopes, and they would have all these Percocets and Percodans, and you would have them in your pocket like candy. So getting hooked on all this stuff, I mean, after a season, you were like drying out after a season because you had taken so many drugs. It's really rough. Now, I don't think it's like that today. I think they care more for the players today. Hey, I'll give you this. 62, 72, 76, and 66. That was the combination to the medicine cabinet at the Buccaneer facility so that we could go in and get drugs. Randy Grimes, who now runs a rehab center, was hooked on them. Randy had the, Google it. He's a dear friend. He's the captain of the team. 62, 72, 76, 66 was a combination to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drug cabinet where we can go in there and get Percocets, Percodans, volumes, Vicodins, and you can go in there and get them anytime you wanted. And then if you had a couple beers, you're a drug addict. See, that's the other side of the NFL and the ugly side of it behind when you peel the onion back. Okay? I mean, Google Randy Grimes. You'll see what I'm talking. Randy runs a rehab center. That's where he got it from because Randy had to go into rehab. When you, God forbid, the guys that played 10, 11 years. Now, look, I do think it's better today. Okay? I guarantee you it's not like it was back then. Okay? I guarantee you it's not like that. I had never taken so many drugs in my life until I got to the NFL. I wasn't a drug addict. Okay? I didn't take drugs. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do any of that. No way. Today, I won't even take an aspirin. Okay? I mean, I take them now because I have to. I can't sleep without aspirin. But, man, so when Brett Favre got hooked on Vicodin, I'm like, I'm not fucking feeling sorry for you. I know thousands of men who felt sorry for themselves or for who got hooked on those things like that. Okay, then it becomes repetitive, especially when you get knee injuries. And here's the coach. Ray Perkins comes up to me and goes, hey, can you play against the Cardinals this weekend? I'm not missing games. Yeah. So I had a surgery on Tuesday, Players' Day off. I took Vicodin and Percocets, and I played that Sunday. They went in, they scraped some cartilage off my knee. I played that Sunday. I'm not missing games. You think I'm missing a $15,000, $18,000 check? You're fucking nuts. Not happening. I was making probably $25,000 a week. This was in 87. I'm not missing that. Not working. That's not happening. You got playing incentives involved in your contract. Shit, you could clear. I could clear in a week in 87, 30 grand in 1 week. You think I'm missing a paycheck? No way. I posted before my Tampa Bay Buccaneer incentive. I think I've showed some of you this. I think I've showed you. I showed you guys some of this here. Let me show you this here. Buccaneers incentives. This is just a stupid one that I made. This is just a stupid one I made. And this just shows you how much money that's being thrown around. Okay. There's a Buccaneer incentive. You guys maybe play it back. But this is one of my incentives. This was an incentive page that was sent to my agent. And this is 1987. $25,000 for working out and another $15,000 after I worked out. So $40,000 here. There's $40,000. 25 and 15 just for working out. 1987, 40 grand for 6 weeks of working out. You know what that money is today? It's $125,000 for 6 weeks of work. Just working out in the gym. There at the facility. It's $125,000. I mean, my signing bonus back then, I had the same contract Jerome had. It's about 95K, Maniac. Is that what it is? Okay. 40 grand's about 95K. Get this. Hey, Maniac, that's just for working out. My signing bonus was 300 grand in 1987. Jerome had one for 300 grand too. We signed the same contract. Okay. They gave me a first round contract. Okay. It came out to be like 2.1 million over 4 years or 3 years. I forget what it was. Jerome, I think, got a little more, maybe like 2.5. I think he signed for. Same agent, Abe said, I had a guy by the name of Bob Wolf and Randy Fataha. They were based out of Boston. You guys probably don't know who Bob Wolf is, but do you know who the agent that was portrayed in Jerry Maguire? That guy, that old guy, was portrayed as that was Bob Wolf, and he was my agent. Bob's been passed on, but back in the day, Bob Wolf was one of the guys. That was one of him and Lee Steinberg and those guys were really enormous. And then Drew Rosenhaus came about, but it was really Bob Wolf who was like the first big NFL agent, and he was my agent that I had when I was younger. Paisano, did you know you were close with the great? Paisano did not know you were close with the great Al Davis, and love how you could tell how the NFL and a lot of the people hate him to this day and have a vendetta against him. Great work, John. No question about it. I was really close to Al Davis. I became dear friends with Al. He used to send me Christmas cards all the time. And holiday cards he would send me. I think I have one of them. Still to this day, I have a card that he sent me. Amy Trask used to send them to me too. And they would send me Christmas cards, and I worked for him for many years, and Al was just absolutely one of the absolute great guys. Here's my old Raider badge when I used to travel with the team. That was my old Raider badge. Big Sills. I really did love working for the Raiders. And Al was, here it is. Al Davis used to send me and my wife every year Christmas cards. And Al used to send them to me. And this one's here. Dan, you're the best. Thank you so much for your support and your friendship. Very close to Al. One of the absolute mavericks in the sport. And it's funny how he used to contact me. He used to contact me like this. Al Davis would go, "This is Fudgy. Dan, you got a minute? Coach wants to see you. Coach wants to talk to you." Coach Davis. "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" "Good." "What's that John Gruden doing?" "What's Tim Brown doing?" This is when I was on the air with the Bucs. "Coach." Goes, "How's that goddamn Bruce Allen doing?" Those two guys are backstabbers, Gruden and I'm friends with Bruce. I knew Bruce longer. Okay, those son of a bitches. He'd get on the phone and just start talking shit. He would fly in, and then he would pick me up, and we'd go to Vegas because he always wanted to move the Raiders to Vegas. That's why they're there. My daughter was born. He wanted me to rename my daughter Alicia after Al. And I'm like, my wife's like, we're sitting at the Palm in LA going, "Nah, I don't think we're doing that." Yeah. I loved Al Davis. God, man, was he great. Son of a bitch in Roselle. And I didn't like Roselle either. So, yeah, no, it was. All right. So we just found out Kellen Moore will be interviewing next Tuesday with the Chicago Bears. That'll be released probably Monday. But he's going to be interviewing with the Bears. How you doing? Damn. This guy's a hot guy. How come he didn't improve the passing game? Xander don't like the offense. Okay? How can that guy have 5 job interviews? Kellen Moore. When Jalen Hurts threw for 29.03. You know why? Because he's 15-3. And they're dominating. Holy cow. Hey, man, I got to tell you guys, I could not wait for this segment because I got to tell you, if you want a condo in Boca, or if you want a condo in Greece, I'm assuming my man, Philly Godfather, can get you a nice place about 1.5 miles from the Parthenon. I'm very sure you can hook yourself up there because what I hear after the Olympics, there was a lot of land that was not used after the Olympics, and it kind of drove real estate prices down after the games in Athens. By the way, my friends who went to that Olympics said it was off the charts how great it was in Athens. Anyway, if you want a place next to the Parthenon, he is your guy. Without further ado, my man, the legendary Philly Godfather. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Dan? I love it. You know, my family's from Mount Olympus, the home of the Greek gods.
Yeah.
So, you know how we roll.
Hey, dude, I got to tell you, man, my friends who said that when they went to the Olympics and they covered it and they were there in Athens, they said that of all the places that they've ever been to, one of my friends went to Innsbruck, during the Winter Games. And one of my friends recently just went to Paris and said that was pretty cool, but nothing like Athens. Have you ever been back to Greece yet? Because you got family there, I'm assuming. Have you ever been back there?
Yeah, we're back there a couple times. We still have a house over there in Katerini. The Parthenon's beautiful. I mean, the history, that's where it's all came from. Democracy. The Colosseums, the Greek Colosseums are still there. The islands are beautiful. I mean, you got Mykonos, you got Santorini, you got Paros, you got Skathos. It's just there's like 100 islands to go to. So it's an amazing place.
I want some goat cheese now, and hey, man, and I want a gyro now. I'll tell you this, one of my favorite foods on the planet, man. Gyros, baby. Let's get me some goat cheese here. All right, speaking of the cheese, let's make some money here. How do you see this game? And do you think the Rams have a puncher shot on Sunday in this divisional round as the Rams come from 3,000 miles on a short work week because they played on Monday? Do you think they have a shot on Sunday in Philly?
The line opened up 4.5. It's up to 6. I think the number's right there. A lot of stuff going on back home for these guys. So, I know they're professionals, but it's hard to stay really, focused with all those fires going on back home. Like you said, 3,000-mile trip to Philly. But ever since they lost to the Eagles in, week 12, this has been a different Rams team. They're finally healthy. Their defense is one of the better ones in the NFL over the last 5-6 weeks. And we saw how the Packers came on strong last year, reminiscent of what the Rams are doing this year. Rams have arguably the best quarterback in the NFC with Matthew Stafford, maybe the best coach in the NFC. And we talked about before the season started that we could see, Goff and Stafford in the NFC Championship game because they are probably the two best quarterbacks in the NFC. Jalen Hurts, not an elite quarterback this season, not putting up elite numbers, but they're winning. The team's more efficient. They're not turning the ball over. He had become a turnover machine. And the best thing the Eagles did after week 6 was take the ball out of their hands. And since then, they've been almost impossible to beat. And they've covered the spread 67% of the time this season. So they've made people a lot of money. At the current line on this game, -6. Man, it's right there. If anything, I'd probably look to take the Rams in a teaser, 7-point teaser, get them up to +13. Maybe play the under in a real cold game. You got a West Coast team coming to Philly. It's going to be really cold. But the way the Eagles looked last week, I know the score was great and all, but that game was a lot closer than that final score indicated. If the Packers don't turn the ball over 4 times, that game's a toss-up. So that kind of worries me a little bit about backing the Eagles at -4.5, 5 or 6. But the Eagles are the better team. I expect them to advance. I expect them to win the game and end up in the NFC Championship game.
How about these numbers here? What do you make of this? In the 3 wins, he's 3-3 in the postseason. What do you make of these numbers here? Passing attempts, 23 in wins, 39 in losses in passing attempts. Passing yards. When Jalen Hurts throws for under 200 yards and 135 yards to be exact, he wins. When he throws for 271 yards in the losses, they lose.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that? That the less he touches the ball, the more they win.
It's exactly what I've been talking about for the last couple of years. He had become a turnover machine. So the more pass attempts, the more risk of turning the ball over, interceptions. And we need more of a Trent Dilfer, Jalen Hurts, than we need of like a Warren Moon. You know what I mean? We need Hurts just to be a game manager, 4th down, the tush push, and hand that rock off to Saquon Barkley because, arguably, other than Josh Allen, he could have been the MVP or maybe Lamar Jackson. And Joe Burrow had a great season. He was comeback player of the year, and we cashed that bet as well, +300. But, get to the guy, give the ball to the guy that's done it all year, that doesn't turn the ball over, that keeps that opposing defense on the field, wear them down in the 4th quarter. Good things happen. And if you got to go, if Jalen Hurts has to drop back and pass the ball 40 times, you could be in trouble as a defense.
Yeah, I agree. So Jalen Dilfer is what we need to see.
What we need. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. I'm being dead serious. People might think I'm nuts, but I'm being dead. That's the Jalen Hurts I want to see as an Eagles fan.
Make a couple plays and get out of the way.
Yep.
Jalen Dilfer. All right. How about this? Jalen Hurts, over under 37.5 rushing yards.
Man, it's a lot of rushing yards.
It's going to be cold weather, and it might be snow.
Yeah, you got Saquon Barkley back there.
Yep.
I would say under. If he's got to run the ball and Saquon ain't getting the job done, this team's in trouble.
Okay. Barkley, over under 111.5 rushing yards.
That's too many. Yeah, I would go under. That's a lot of yards.
Under. All right.
The Rams are going to stack the box and make. I'm telling you what they're going to try to do. McVay's a genius. Stack the box, make Hurts beat you with his arm. And if he does, he does. You know.
Completely agree. Jalen Hurts passing yards, 204.5 over under.
Well, since A.J. Brown's kind of banged up and he's more of a decoy these days, man, that's right there. Flip a coin. That's right there. I would say under.
Under. The Kyron Williams, Rams, 74.5 rushing yards. Over under for the Rams.
That's a lot of rushing yards. I would say over, but I think the better bet is anytime touchdown for him. You can get him at like plus 110. I think it's a better bet.
Matthew Stafford, over under 214.5 passing yards.
I'd go over.
You think he throws for 260 more or 260 or more?
250. Their offense on the second half of the season is much better than the Eagles.
Over under on the game, 43.5. I've got this. I've got 20. I think it's 28-10 Rams in this game. No, I mean 28-10 Eagles. But like you said, you know, I mean, they got a Hall of Fame trending coach and they got a Hall of Fame trending quarterback. And for the record, like you said about McVay, isn't it asinine anybody who would ever compare Nick Sirianni to a guy who's won 4 division titles, 2 NFC titles, and a Super Bowl, and he's 8-4, and he's 4 years younger than Nick, 5 years younger than Nick, and he's 38. I mean,
he's been to 2 Super Bowls too.
2 Super Bowls. He's got 2 NFC titles and a win. How in the world are you taking a shit on Sean McVay with that resume? It's insane.
No, you can't do that. But the game opened up 45 in total. It's down to 44, as low as 43.5. There's some sharp money that went under 45 to push that line. You got to remember, sharp money moves that market. I would go under 44 points. I think the under is the right side. It's going to be cold, man.
Puka Nacua, over under 79 yards.
I say over. I got him anytime touchdown as well.
He's a really good player, kind of nursing a twisted ankle a little bit, but that should be interesting. All right, let's go to Sunday's games. Boy, is this not the best week? And I think it's the best week in the NFL, the divisional rounds, because it's a crapshoot kind of in a way when it comes to the conference championship games and obviously the Super Bowl too. But don't you think this is the best? These are like the best weekends when it comes to the NFL as a divisional round.
Yeah, man. I mean, the NFL's boss hog, and this time of the year, the cream of the crop always rises. But some teams that haven't played, that maybe rested their players last week of the season and had to bye, come into this game a little rusty and usually have a slow start and don't cover the number. Historically, teams like that don't cover the spread like 65% of the time.
Baltimore at Buffalo. It's a Sunday 6:30 CBS game. You've got Lamar Jackson. You've got Josh Allen. You've got Derrick Henry, Lamar, and boy, I'll tell you, you got maybe of the 5 best players in the game, you got 3 of them in this ball game on Sunday night. It's in Buffalo. Winner advances to the AFC Championship game. Who do you like in this thing?
It's such a tough game to pick. Buffalo opened up a 1.5-point favorite. Now the Ravens are 1.5-point favorite, so flip-flop. So the early sharp money jumped on Baltimore. The Bills have the better quarterback in Josh Allen, even though Lamar Jackson's having another great year. But in the playoffs, we've witnessed Lamar Jackson come up short many times. And I don't think Josh Allen ever played a bad game in his life. He's so good. Freezing cold weather. It's going to feel like it's 8 degrees. I think game times weather's going to be like 22 degrees or 23 degrees. I don't think Lamar Jackson has played in a game under 27 degrees in his career. I think the X factor is Henry in a cold weather game. Man, this is such tough to pick. The over and under is at 51.5. I thought that was a little too high. I went under 51.5 in the ball game. If I had to pick a side, I keep going back and forth, man. But I think the Ravens are the better team. But it is in Buffalo. I would lean towards the Ravens a little bit, but anything can happen. Man, Josh Allen is so good.
I'm with you. I got Ravens in this thing because of Derrick Henry. I think he is. The odd guy in this thing here. And I do think that he's the difference maker, because if you're going to put both quarterbacks against each other, you could make the argument of a push. Okay, well, what's the separation then? I mean, and I look at that Buffalo Bills defense. I mean, are you impressed with that Buffalo Bills defense? I think Derrick Henry has a shot to go for 200 yards in this ball game. In the cold, handing the ball off to him, this guy, he eats this shit up. He went for what, 187 last week? I mean, I think Baltimore's playing better than Buffalo, and I know it's at home. By the way, how much do you think that plays a factor, it being at home in this game? Is the 3 points, is it a big deal being at home here with Baltimore heading up there? And do you agree that Derrick Henry is the difference?
I think Derrick Henry is the X factor. But James Cook, I mean, last time he played in the snow, you saw what he did.
Yeah.
He had, $170. So he's no slouch. And Josh Allen can run the ball. I bet Josh Allen anytime touchdown. I think he's going to run one in. And he'll bulldoze people, Josh, So this is such a game to actually invest in, because, you can convince yourself on the Ravens, and then 10 minutes later, you're like, you know what? I like the Bills. I keep going back and forth. But the X factor is Derrick Henry. But Lamar Jackson, I mean, if he gets some brain cramps, turnovers are huge. If the Ravens lose the turnover differential 1-0, they could lose the game. All you need is one mistake from Lamar Jackson, and he's had a lot of them in the playoffs over the last few years. So if he, goes back to being Lamar Jackson from the playoffs from last year, the year before, and the year before that, well, then the Buffalo Bills definitely have a shot to win this game in advance.
Washington at Detroit. Washington has been an incredible story this year. They've won 12 ball games with you know what's crazy about this game? If the Eagles take care of business, you could actually have the Eagles hosting the NFC Championship game by Sunday night, and it would be an NFC East matchup in this thing. Washington has played with Jaden Daniels some really good ball the last month of the year. Detroit, obviously, with the bye, they have, and now they're getting, if I'm not mistaken, maybe you know more on this, but David Montgomery had a full week of practice, and so he's going to be back in the backfield with Gibbs back there now. They've been shocking on defense this year, and boy, there is a lot of weapons on that offensive side of the football for the Lions. Do you give the Washington Commanders a puncher's chance in this football game, or is this bad puppy all Lions?
I mean, the Lions are 10-point favorites, 9.5.
Wow.
Well, that tells you something there. You got a rookie quarterback, and as great as Jalen Daniels has been all season, we loved him. You picked him to win the NFC East. I liked them as well a little bit. We knew they were going to be, much better than they were last season. We picked them to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He got that done for us at plus 500. But now you're going up against a team that if you make any mistakes, you're in trouble. And the Commanders rank 15th or 16th in turnover differential this season. And anytime the Lions win the turnover differential in a game, they're 7-0 against the spread. They're 11-1-1 against the spread if they win the turnover differential or tie the turnover differential. So the Commanders can't afford one turnover in this game. If they have one turnover in this game, they're not going to win the game, and they're probably not going to cover the spread. Now, if Jaden Daniels plays a perfect game and he's come on strong down the stretch, they've won a bunch of games in a row, then they got a shot to cover the number. But I don't think they can score with the Lions. I don't see any team in the NFC that can put up the points like the Lions do, especially at the Den, especially up there in Detroit on that fast turf. 10 points. I would lean Commanders a little bit because of the price, but I don't see them winning that game.
If Jared Goff wins the Super Bowl, that'll be 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 NFC titles. He would have gone up to Detroit and did something that Matthew Stafford couldn't even do, and that was turn that franchise. They haven't won a championship in 68 years in Detroit. And here's a guy that probably at the end of the day is going to retire with over 65,000 passing yards. You could make an argument that this is a legacy game for him and I've never been a Jared Goff guy. I mean, here's a number one pick. He could easily be one of the most underrated guys in the league at that position if this guy goes on and does this. I mean, every year, 30 touchdown passes, 4,500 yards throwing. You're talking about this will be a second NFC championship game in a row. 3 title games he would have performed in, winning 2 of them. I mean, you could make the argument this guy, if he wins it, is on the way to the Hall of Fame.
I think he is. I mean, the early knock on him was he folds under pressure like a cheap suit. But over the last 3 years, you see him staying in that pocket and taking the hits and completing those passes. He's evolved as a quarterback. He's only gotten better. And his resume is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best over the last 2 seasons as a quarterback. You look at his passing numbers. Last year, he tore it up. This year, he tore it up. I mean, he's got a lot of weapons on offense, but you see the difference between him and Jalen Hurts, man. He's putting up big numbers, and Jalen Hurts has just as many weapons, and he can't do it. So Jared Goff is definitely a stud. If he wins this game, which I think they will, and I hope they do because we have 13-1 futures on them that we gave everyone watching the show before the season started, they'll advance, and they'll probably play the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And we talked about it before the season started. They were probably the 2 best teams in the NFC, and maybe the Rams with their coach quarterback combination. If the ball bounces their way this week, then we would see them in the championship game instead of the Eagles. And that's where we're at, Dan, right now.
I'll tell you this. No question, man. I mean, I picked them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. That's been my Super Bowl team. I thought they were going to play the Bengals. The Bengals were going to – they kind of – a couple of those losses obviously early on cost them an opportunity because I like to have seen the Bengals, what they would have done in the playoffs. But, boy, I mean, they've been the best team, in my opinion, from – the beginning of the year in the NFL. And that includes the next team we're going to get to, Kansas City hosting Houston. Let me throw this at you here too with Houston. First with Kansas City, let's go here. Steve Spagnuolo, do you realize if he wins another Super Bowl, this will be his 5th? 1 in New York with the Giants, 4 in Kansas City with the Chiefs and with Andy Reid. You could make the argument that if you want to say Belichick's the greatest defensive-minded guy in the history of the game, that's fine. But in the Super Bowl era, I can't think of another defensive coordinator with 5 Super Bowl rings other than Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, that would be an incredible accomplishment. Then you got Andy with his 4th Super Bowl ring, which would probably solidify him in that Chuck Nolan, Belichick, and all those guys in that kind of conversation. Before you even get into it, if they do this, they're 3 wins away from a three-peat. Would you look at Mahomes as the greatest quarterback in the Super Bowl era for doing that accomplishment, or would it still be Brady with the 7?
No, it's still Tom Brady. It doesn't mean Mahomes ain't going to get there, but I would still rank Brady, above him. But like you said, I mean, who's better than Spags and Andy Reid over the last 4 or 5 years with Mahomes by their side? In this game, they're 9-point favorites. But that Texans team, that defense, I mean, one of the best teams when it comes to pressure rate.
I'm picking the upset here.
If it wasn't a dome team going into cold weather, and listen, is it worth some baby peanuts throw on plus 400 on the Texans to win the game?
9 points?
Yeah, but I'll take the 9 points all day. I already bet them. I took 9 points, 9.5 on the Texans. They're finally healthy. They lost to the Lions by a field goal earlier in the season. They beat the Buffalo Bills by a field goal when they were healthy. This team, I mean, between the pressure rate they put on the quarterback, the defense that they have, you saw what they did to the Chargers last week. They manhandled them, and the Chiefs had problems against the Chargers this year. I think they beat them by 2 points a few weeks back and by a touchdown earlier in the season. This Chiefs team has been getting away with a lot of close wins this year. And even though their record is the best in the NFL, I don't want to say they're not as good as their record, but there's been a lot of toss-up games where that could have went either way. And now you're playing, C.J. Stroud. He's got another year under his belt. You saw what he did last year. One of the best defenses in the league. I mean, 10 points, 9.5 points, that's way too many points, man. Give me the Texans all day long.
If the Eagles go on to win the Super Bowl, they would have gone through Love, Stafford, Goff, and either Lamar, Allen, or Mahomes to win it. Will this team be the best team in the Super Bowl era in Eagle history?
Nah, the 2017 team was better. They did
Why?
it with a backup quarterback.
Okay.
That eight-man rotation on that 2017 on that defensive line, that pressure never stopped coming. You don't have that kind of pressure rate with the Eagles this year. I think they're ranked like 19th in the league, and that's one of the things that I don't like about the team. They're not getting that pressure on opposing quarterbacks. That 2017 team, I mean, I think they were the fastest from snap to delivery to the opposing quarterback, even faster than that New York Sack Exchange, the Giants team, when they were getting to the quarterback real quick. So, yeah, I would go 2017. That's probably the best team we've seen in Philly ever.
Who's the MVP in that game between the Eagles and Rams on Sunday?
It's got to be Saquon Barkley if the Eagles are going to win. The Rams win, probably Stafford.
I agree with you. If Barkley is not the bell cow and Hurts has bigger numbers, they're losing.
Yeah.
Because the formula, do you agree? The formula all year long has been run the ball, take the ball out of Hurts' hands.
That was after week 6. They were 4-2 at the time. And as soon as they did that, they took off. They went to the moon.
10-game win streak after they did that. After week 1, they had 38 passing attempts in that Packer game. When they came out of the bye, they never had more than 30 attempts. And there were games in there where they had 14 attempts, and they went on a 10-game win streak. The key, again, it's funny when people say this, they're like, well, it's a diss on – who cares? You're 15-3 now, counting the playoffs. I mean, what do you care what and how it looks like? Stop taking a knee and wanting Hurts to look great. Who gives a shit? You have a shot to go to the Super Bowl in New Orleans and win it with this style of play. I don't know why. The people in Philly cry when you bring this comment up that taking the ball out of Hurts' hands is better for the team. They don't want to hear that.
It's much better. It's all about getting rings. It's not about statistics or, Jalen Hurts. It's about winning the Super Bowl. And the way this team is built, the way they're running this team, they got a great shot of winning it all. Why would you want to risk that by letting Hurts pass the ball 40 times? You're going to lose.
You're going to lose if that ends up happening. Absolutely. Godfather, tell the folks where they can find you during this playoff. Oh, wait. The Monday game. Oh, I love it. The book's out?
I got the first hard copy. Yeah. Should be ready in about 4 weeks for everyone else.
You bet. I want a copy of that bad puppy.
I got you covered.
Hey, Monday, Ohio State, Notre Dame. What do you got?
Line's down to 8, open 9.5. Notre Dame's got one of the better run defenses in the league. Top 5 in turnover margin. They've showed they can beat elite teams like Georgia and Penn State in the playoffs. I got Ohio State winning it, but I think Notre Dame can cover the number. And that's another future we gave you guys before the season started. Ohio State 4-1. So I'm not Nostradamus, but if the Lions win the Super Bowl and Ohio State wins the national championship, I ain't that bad, Dan.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be buying that condo next to the Parthenon if you end up doing that, brother. I appreciate it. Make sure you check him out and all of his great stuff on his X account, and also, too, all of the comments that he makes during the football playoffs and then the Monday night national championship game. Brother, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being here, man. Tell the folks the last time, in case I missed something, where they can find you.
You can find me on X at Philly Godfather. The website's at phillygodfather.com. You can pre-order the book at phillybook.com, and go Birds, baby.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Catch you next week.
You got it.
That is our friend, the legendary Philly Godfather. Don't forget, folks, please do me a favor after hearing all that. I'm sure now you want to make yourself a bet. We've teamed up with our friends at BetUS for the YouTube 150. That's right. 150% on a sign-up bonus up to $2K. Your second and third are 125%. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year, live wagering on all the games that we just talked about, the Saturday and Sunday games, national title game on Monday. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
We noticed that there was mold creeping into our basement about a year and a half ago, and wanted to make sure that we were getting rid of the problem permanently. We actually reached out to several different contractors to get it resolved, and actually 2 of them recommended DryTech to us as a long-term solution. Other than the noise factor, we wouldn't even know that there was work being done on the basement level. It's really been a clean process for us.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Take the ball out of Hurts' hand, you win. Where in the world do you hear that in any playoff game? Take the ball out of the hands of the quarterback. You have a better chance of winning. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, wait, let's be more accurate. Don't put the ball in the hands of your quarterback a lot, because that's not the remedy to win. Give it to him, but not a lot. Okay? That's the formula. Baltimore, Buffalo. Sorry, man. I got Baltimore winning this puppy. 26-24. I think Henry goes for north of 150 in this cold game. Washington, Detroit. I got 34-10. Detroit. No, I'll say 34-17. I've got Detroit winning this game. That's Saturday. That's Brady and Fox. The Baltimore-Buffalo game is Sunday, 6:30 CBS. As I said, I got 28-10. I got the Eagles winning that game. That is Sunday, the 3:30 NBC game. And on Sunday, I know you guys you guys think I'm nuts here, but I'm going 26-24. Same score as the Baltimore game. I got Houston in an upset. I don't know why, but I've got Houston winning this game. And for Hurts and for Saquon, I've got Jalen 161 yards passing, 2 TDs, 30 rushing. And I got Barkley for about 125 rushing yards. I'd say AJ's over 100, 105. Devontae will come in with about 40. Eagles beat him by 18. Eagles win by 18 points. And then they will go to Detroit and play for the NFC Championship game. So believe it or not, I got 2 wildcard teams winning in the AFC. And that would mean this. The AFC Championship game, if I'm not mistaken, would be in Houston. And the NFC Championship game will be in Detroit. So, man, what a weekend. By the way, don't forget to catch us on the pregame show on Sunday heading into that Rams game. And then also, too, Xander will have you for the halftime, and then we'll be there for the postgame. Should be insane. Great stuff on Saturday and Sunday. I can't thank you guys enough. What a football week, man. It's been absolutely fantastic. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Please hit that like button. Xander, Big Joe, thank you guys so much, man. 2 to 6 on Monday. Don't forget the pre and post. Also on Sunday on that Rams divisional game. We'll see you on Monday, and we'll see you on the flip side.